Greetings to each and every one of y'all. Thank you for tuning in today. Special greetings to the 32,510 of you all who have hit that subscribe button and helped me hit my goal of 50,000 subscribers by the end of April. I thank each and every one of y'all for tapping in today. Hit that like button, jump into the best live chat on the internet. We got a great show, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's go. Grace and peace, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you all. Happy second day of the dictatorship. I think I'm gonna start a dictator timer on my channel. We'll just keep counting down until Trump actually becomes a dictator. I think that might be a little bit too much, but you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. We're going to be talking about some of the promises that Trump made and some of the things he did within mere hours of being president. That man, he ticked a lot of boxes yesterday, y'all. A lot of them. So shout out to everybody that's already jumped in. I see you, Gemini. My president is standing on business. Yes, he is, Miss Mandy. Yes, he is. What's going on, Amethyst? Good to see you. Grace and peace to you, friend. There he is, all the way from the Harrisburg campus. There's Mark. Good to see you, sir. LM, my president. He's standing on that business. Yo, I'm looking forward to this conversation today. So we have a lot to talk about. So please make sure you have your warm beverage because it's cold here in Georgia. It's supposed to be snowing, right? It's a snow day. Snow day. It's a snow day here in Georgia. I haven't seen any snow. My daughter just ran out to go to the store. I think it's a big nothing burger, but I digress. Get yourself a warm beverage. Get your fuzzy slippers because we got a lot to talk about. We are going to be all over the place, so please do not expect this to be an only one direction conversation. We will be talking about Trump's promises, but I have a plethora of other things to talk about, and I need your input. So I'm going to need you to also make sure that your keyboard is loose, make sure it's charged up. You got your keyboard charged up, all that kind of stuff like that. You got your backup keyboard if you need your phone, if you're on your if you're on your TV, just make sure that you can comment because I need some feedback. I got a lot of feedback. I mean, I need a lot of feedback from you all, the best live chat on the internet. So thank you, everybody who's already jumped in. Shout out to Lynn. Good to see you, friend. Whoa. We don't have that situation here. We don't. Now, apparently, it's snowing more South Atlanta. I'm in northern part of Atlanta. So maybe that's where it's going. So maybe, south of 20. I just know I looked outside. I'm like, what is this? And it's not really cold, in my opinion. My daughter said it's cold. I was like, whatever, whatever. But what do you think about it, Collins? Good morning to you as well. David's up in the building in Florida, right? Yeah. Look, Florida and Texas, their weather always surprises me. Texas gets more snow than we do in Georgia. And that thing always cracks me up. And Florida too. So praying for y'all. Stay warm up there. It's frigid here in Detroit. ALM. I need you to make sure you are on. Hold on, where am I in my notes? Yeah, I need you to stay on for the next hour. Okay, please. Because I need feedback from you specifically because you live in Detroit and I got questions about Detroit specifically. So I might have to put you in 0-second timeout. Don't leave. Stay here. I need you. WWN, good to see you, friend. Grace and peace. There she is. There's my buddy Kiana. Good to see you. Shara's up in the house. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to it. Y'all know that Trump came in yesterday. I've never seen this before. I have never seen, and maybe they've done this before, where a president signs executive orders, kind of like old school wrestling style, where the two wrestlers come to the ring and they sign the contract in front of the crowd and the audience. I've never seen that before. Yo, it's snowing in Louisiana. Y'all need to stop. Just stop. I've never seen that before. That was so, I'm not saying weird. It was just interesting to see. So let's look at this article from The Guardian. What does that Guardian say, Jason? I think first of all, The Guardian says zoom in some. Let's make that a little bit bigger. All right. So just in case you were wondering, I'm going to drop the link to this as well down in the chat for you all if you want to follow along or you want to check it out later on. Somebody just said it's snowing in Houston. Y'all need to repent in Houston. That's clearly what the problem is. Y'all supposed to be hot. Y'all supposed to be warm. Y'all stay cold up in Houston. All right, what executive orders did Trump sign yesterday on day one? President says his executive orders will lead to complete restoration of America. Here's what we know so far. All right, on his first day back in the White House, President Donald Trump signed a series of executive orders, including rescinding the Biden era. Hold on, here's somebody coming in the kitchen. Okay, sorry about that. Rescinding the Biden era executive actions and withdrawing the U.S. from the Paris Climate Accord. Trump told Fox News host Sean Hannity during his campaign that he would be a dictator for only one day and use his presidential powers to close the southern border with Mexico and expand oil drilling. Okay, let me bring that back in. I do remember that. I did a whole video on Trump saying he's going to be a dictator. It was clearly tongue in cheek. It was clearly meant to be hyperbole, but I mean, he did say it, and let's see what he does. Okay, let's give him. We're gonna see now. Hey there, good morning, big girl. All right. After that, I'm not a dictator, he said. Executive orders rolled in on Monday, the accelerated pace amounted to a shock and awe campaign. Trump promised in his inaugural speech that these orders would amount to a complete restoration of America. I'm only laughing because there is one of those in there that we talked about last night. We're gonna all be like, "Oh my gosh!" There is an order in there that, in my opinion, is interesting. Here's what we know so far about the most significant executive orders and actions Trump signed on Monday. By the way, we are going to look at the actual signing where he does it in front of the whole crowd. To me, that just reeked of old school WWF. Yeah, WWF wrestling, like when they used to do that. I don't know. It was just really wild. And then he signed like 9 orders and then went to the Oval Office and signed the rest of them. I just thought it was very interesting. But let's go. Ending birthright citizenship. I'm just going to read through these real quick, just kind of blitz through them because they're going to talk about them in the video clip as well. All right. Leaving the World Health Organization. Wow. Trump signed the order to have the U.S. exit the World Health Organization. Wow. Renaming the Gulf of Mexico. Trump ordered 2 name changes, the Gulf of Mexico and Alaska's Mount Denali. All right, that's the one that I was like, oh man, what is this about? I need to do a little bit more research into this whole Gulf of Mexico thing. I heard somebody say that it's easy to drill if we call it the Gulf of America, which is kind of wild. I, I can get it, but that's just going to be interesting, man. I wonder what cruise ships are going to do. Let's keep it moving. Let's go. And if you wanted to, I dropped the link here. You can read all about those executive orders and even like what the history of them were. Revoking electric vehicle targets. Trump revoked the non-binding executive order signed by Biden aimed at making half of all new vehicles sold by 2030 electric. Wow. So that's basically wow. I wonder what car manufacturers are going to do with that. That right there is going to be powerful. Reclassifying the federal employees, making them easier to fire. Trump executive order reclassifies thousands of federal employees as political hires, making it much easier for them to be fired, which I think is going to be interesting. So we will 100% see how that plays out. Some of these we're never going to see, but some I'm sure we'll hear more about that for sure. Declaring a national energy emergency. Trump declared a national energy emergency as part of a barrage of pro-fossil fuel actions and efforts to unleash already booming U.S. energy production that included all rolling back restrictions in drilling in Alaska and undoing the pause on gas exports. Let's go. Now, I mentioned yesterday, that I hadn't heard a lot of drill baby drill commentary because that was part of the 2016 campaign, Drill Baby Drill. And so, look, I'm glad that we're doing something to become more energy independent here in the United States. I don't think it's smart for us to get when we have resources here to go to other places to get them, especially when other places to get them are not necessarily friendly to our future prosperity. So no, I'm 100% behind that, all about it. And if this is part of why you're going to change the name to the Gulf of America, salute the Gulf of Mexico. I mean, salute the Gulf of America. Let's go. It'll take me a while to get used to it, but I'm all about it. All right. Creating a policy recognizing only two genders. To God be the glory. I don't think that Trump realized how significant this is right here. Trump signed an order to remove the gender ideology guidance from the federal government communication policies and forms. The form makes it official policy that there are only two genders, male and female. This right here is significant. This is humongous. This is humongous because we're confusing children with the foolishness that we're doing. Now, I know people want to get in their feelings about it. It's perfectly okay. Get over it. We're confusing little people, the little people that we've been trusted and blessed to raise and mature and govern over until they become adults themselves. We're confusing their brains by doing this dumb stuff. 95 different genders. You're crazy, but I'm glad that they at least decided at the federal level to stop doing this. Now, they're going to still be doing it on TikTok. They might still be doing it on job applications, but at least in the federal government, it said, look, there's only two. Look, we're not going to play the dumb game with all this craziness running around here with 95 genders. Y'all are crazy. And shout out to that. Okay. Pausing the TikTok ban. I don't know why this thing just tickles me, man. The TikTok ban is comedy over here. 'Cause I'm not really using TikTok. I have a TikTok. I do have a DWC TikTok. I'm not really functional on it. Shout out to Marshall the plug. He is a beast on TikTok. He's always sending me new TikTok things and stuff like that. Bless his heart. Because I'm like, your boy don't even know what I'm doing. Uh, I'm not that big a deal. However, the ban was going to be, there are people who do, like it or not, for good or not, there are people who TikTok has become a business avenue that many people have been able to right their financial ship, to, dare I say, even change the generational trajectory of their families off of TikTok. I'm not a fan of TikTok. And they're not doing crazy stuff like taking their clothes off or selling their giblets for the price of a Happy Meal. These are people have been using TikTok as a means of making an income. And look, I don't want to see somebody get, and this is where they've been putting a lot of their effort into. I'm a content creator, for crying out loud, right? And I'm over here doing this very similar thing. I'm just over here on YouTube. I'm not much better than them. But I'm not, showing my giblets. But you got my point. Um, but so I think the TikTok ban, I didn't understand fully what the purpose of it was. And this is a Biden era decision. So let's keep it going. Trump signed an executive order temporarily delaying the enforcement of the federal ban on TikTok for at least 75 days. I, d- I guess I have to warm spot for TikTok, Trump says, that I didn't have originally. Trump said in the White House he signed executive orders. Look, I guess they're supposed to sell TikTok, or half of America, half of it's supposed to be owned by America or something like that. I don't know how it all supposed to play out. My point is simply this: whatever needs to be done, if it's spyware, then let it be unspywared. But are we to believe that we we buy technology from China for missiles for our cars and our TVs? Are we supposed to believe that those aren't spyware too? And those ones outright listen to you. I mean, let's not get too beside ourselves with the TikTok is spyware, because you have Alexa or Google Home or the little hub thing that listens to you all the time. Ring camera, come on now. We're gonna look at a ring camera later on. So I don't know if I'm willing to just. I understand that I got the tinfoil hat on under here too. I got you. All right, let's keep this going. Rescinding 78. Was it 78 because that's how old Biden was? Like, dang, my guy. 78 Biden era executive actions. And there's a lot of them. I, like, dude, like for real? 78? Like, dude, that's gangster. Like, dude, that's some high level. That's some. I see a lot of y'all saying Trump did not care one bit. I agree 100%. Trump said, I don't care. All right, declaring a national border emergency. This right here, this right here, this. Trump signed an order at the White House declaring an emergency at the southern border, along with several other immigration related policies. I think this is super smart. Wait till you hear what he did to the cartels. Like, yo, Trump, my guy, hold on. Wait. Trump went in. Trump said, look, look, if I'm here to make America great again, I'm gonna make America great again. Wow. Wait till you see what he did. Issuing pardons to the J6 defendants, and I hope that they're allowed to sue the government. Trump issued pardons for offenders and communications communications related to the January 6th attack and the Capitol on the Capitol. He will direct the Department of Justice to dismiss cases currently in progress. Shout out. And I just hope they're able to sue and be made right for that. Withdrawal from the Paris Climate Agreement, I cannot agree more. Trump issues executive action withdrawing from the U.S. from the 2015 Paris Agreement, along with a letter informing the United Nations of the decision. The only other thing I would recommend is adding to the United Nations, if you say something stupid, we can go ahead and evict you too. And say we could use that property in Washington, in New York, where the United Nations is, we can use that property. So say something smart. That's the only thing I wish he would have done. They haven't been charged with anything. They're literally just being held. Imagine if you were being held because you were there, your cell phone got pinged, Gemini, because you were there at the rally. And let's say you were just too close to the building. And they said, hey, you were a part of the shenanigans that happened at the Capitol, and you just get arrested. You haven't had a lawyer, haven't had a day in court, no right to fair trial, no due process. You just get arrested, and your family hasn't seen you and had access to you in almost 3 years. That's what a lot of these people have had. Now, there are some bigger names that have been able to fight through it and such like that. But we're talking about just some average Joes and Janes that were doing the unsupervised tour of the Capitol building. And they're now, nobody's even seen them. Come on. That's crazy. All right. And okay. So those are all of the major bills, the major ones that Trump signed. And I want to pull in the actual video of him signing. I just thought it was super funny. Think we'd get a good little chuckle out of it. It's not too long, but him signing these while sitting on the stage yesterday. I just thought it was like wild. Like, this is great. Again, as I said already, ad nauseum, this just reminded me of old school wrestling. Like, this is some.
And no doubt the families.
All right, let's get me out of the way. Let's watch this. Let's go. Oh yeah, back to the point. Yeah, there's a lot of people. Now, sure, there's some people that were trying to, break into offices and were wilding out. But there are some people that got dinged because they were too close to the building. Like, it's really that petty. So when they say they're like 1,500 rioters and such like that, Gemini Rising, we're talking about people that were in the community, in the area. Remember, we know what Fonnie told us about. We know what Fonnie taught us about Cellbrite, right? And it's really that. I'm not saying that that they should have been doing that. I don't think they should have been in the building. It was definitely not a good look. However, to be able to be locked away and not have access to any kind of due process, that's not American. That's why they use terms like prisoners and hostages. But let's bring this in because I think y'all will have a good little chuckle with me.
Of these hostages, grateful to both President Trump and President Biden for their efforts to help bring their family members home. But was there a bit of an uncomfortable moment here when he was sort of equating the first item the hostages in Gaza with the J6 prisoners who have been convicted?
I don't think we need to remind people of just how brutal being in captivity.
Wait,
captive of Hamas and the associated terror.
Why are they talking over him? I didn't realize that they were talking over him.
Organizations held in underground tunnels, raped, taken against your will, could be versus the justice system having a day in court and actual charges and lawyers surrounding you. There is no comparison.
Let's listen into what these executive orders are.
President Trump is a regulatory freeze, as you announced in your speech, preventing bureaucrats from issuing any more regulations until we have full control of this, the government and this administration. Thank you, sir.
Sir, can I have a pen?
The next item, sir, is a freeze on all federal hiring, excepting the military and a number of other excluded categories, again, until full control of the government is achieved and we understand the objectives of government going forward.
Y'all know this reminds you of old school wrestling, man. Come on.
Could you imagine Biden doing this? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay, I know a lot of people don't like Trump. He's your president. I'm just going to tell you that right now. And today, I'm going to give you a heads up. If you just jumped in, thank you to the 51 of you all that have already tapped in. I'm telling you right now, we're jumping all over the place today. So just strap in, make sure you got your warm beverage, your fuzzy slippers, and the such like that. But y'all, Trump is a real one. I'm sorry. He might have won your boy over. And I'm going to show you in a minute why I think he's a real one. So please hang in there with your boy. Let's go, Jason. Let's go.
Sir, the next item, as you announced in your speech, is a requirement that federal workers return to full-time in-person work immediately.
Y'all better stop staying at the crib. You got to put some clothes on, come to work tomorrow. I don't like this guy, man.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have a directive to every department and agency in the federal government to address the cost of living crisis that has cost Americans so dearly. Thank you, sir. The next item here is the withdrawal from the Paris Climate Treaty. Yes, sir. We're going to save over $1 trillion by withdrawing from that treaty. And the next item, sir, is a letter that will be transmitted to the United Nations explaining that we are withdrawing from the Paris Climate Treaty.
And tell them they better not say nothing, or we're going to use that land. That's some premium property.
Thank you, sir. This next item is a directive to the federal government ordering the restoration of freedom of speech and preventing government censorship of free speech going forward.
Wow.
And lastly, sir, before we go back to the Oval Office to sign a large number of other items, is a directive to the federal government ending the weaponization of government against the political adversaries of the previous administration, as we've seen.
Now, he could have just signed all of them right there, in my opinion. This was the best.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Pretty fun job.
Wait, he's throwing the pins. I didn't see this part. He's throwing the pins.
And President
Trump is
Trump
a gangster.
throwing some of his famous Sharpie pens into the crowd as he has just signed a number of these executive orders. And Ed O'Keefe is our senior White House correspondent. And Ed, these were not the orders on immigration. Those could come later tonight. But what was there?
No, as we watch the presidential version of a T-shirt toss here in the arena.
That is hilarious.
He essentially began by reversing a series of Biden-era policies. We don't know yet exactly which ones, but the aide there said 78 of them, and put a freeze on regulatory work by any federal agency, quote, until we have full control. Freeze on federal hiring, sending most federal employees back to the office immediately if they aren't already. Important to point out there, though, there are several big agencies like IRS or the Federal Trade Commission that have separate labor negotiations and agreements that actually are going to allow some employees to keep working from home, which he'll not like, but which is just reality. Withdrawing from the Paris Climate Treaty. And we are expecting later tonight the executive orders on immigration. And he teased there pardons for January 6th defendants. Remember, we said there are about 250 of the 1,600 who have been imprisoned, incarcerated for violent offenses like violence against police officers on that day. But you heard the president there say pardons for them are coming, and incredibly equated those January 6th defendants with the hostages being held by Hamas in the Middle East right now.
Scott McFarland, those pardons have not yet come, but President Trump promising them. What do we know about whether that could mean some of them are released tonight?
There's a growing expectation there's going to be wide swaths of pardons and releases imminently. There's a crowd outside the Washington, D.C. jail where a couple dozen of the defendants have been held. There are hundreds more elsewhere in the nation, and Nora, there is a sense it's a matter of when, not if, there are mass releases.
Wow. And Robert Costa, as we look at what happened today, and a remarkable comeback for Donald Trump, who was defeated by Joe Biden after his first term in office and now has come back in this remarkable moment, has escaped prosecution, was under indictment, and yet now this governing now with a mandate, in his words.
It is the culmination of a remarkable story in American history. To think about in 2015 when he launched his campaign, few expected him to ever win the nomination, let alone the presidency twice after dealing with legal ups and downs.
Okay, I'm going to stop it because YouTube will give me a strike for that music playing in the background. So I will drop the link to this and y'all can go check it out and such like that. But I don't want to get the strike because, like I said, they will literally strike you for 10 seconds of that music, of that song, even though it's playing in the background. It's clearly not being advertised or, redistributed, but they will absolutely, they've been draconian lately. Do you all want, in the chat, I told you I'm going to need a lot of feedback from you all. Do you all want to watch full video of Trump signing in the executive office? It's about 45 minutes long, and they go through the exact same thing. They're signing and they're explaining what it is that their bills that they're signing over. It's actually 46 minutes long, and I'll try not to comment much about it. Do y'all want to see that? Just put a Y in the chat, yes in the chat, and it's okay if you don't. I'll just drop the link, and y'all can watch it later on if you want to. You might have already seen it, or you might not really be that invested in it, but I just want to see, do y'all want to watch it? Looks like the general consensus is show enough. Okay. I like that. Real quick, let me know if you want to watch it. Now, before we do that though, did you hit that like button? Did you hit that like button? Let your boy know. Now, don't be over here trying to get me to watch this long video and you didn't hit that like button. Make sure you hit that like button. Just go over there and hit that like button, just like Trump hit that border with the National Guard. It's like Trump is about to hit this border with these troops. My goodness, in the morning. I just dropped the link right here. Here's the link right here for that for it. But all right. Let's get at it then, my good people. Let's get at it. Let's go. Let's go. Now, I do want to say while we're pulling that in, thank y'all so much for y'all to tap in with me tonight. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. We are growing and flowing like a forest blaze. I appreciate y'all so much. All of you all that have come to the channel, that come hang out with what we're doing and support, whether it be liking, commenting, becoming a member, whatever, sharing. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. Thank you so much. What'd y'all say? Okay. Let's get it going. Let's go. Let's go. All right. This is Trump actually signing those executive orders. I'm going to get out of the way. I'm just going to let him do this without my interruption. Let's go. Let's go. One in the chat when you can hear.
What do you see the biggest national security threat to the U.S., Mr. President? What's going to be your priority on foreign policy?
Say?
What's going to be your priority on foreign policy? What do you see as the biggest
Well,
national
foreign
security
policy is a
threat?
big statement. I mean, my priority on foreign policy, it's going to be to keep America safe. Very simple. It's a big question, though. That's a very big question.
Who is going to be the first foreign leader that you plan to meet, or who are you going to call tomorrow on your first day in
I've
office?
already been meeting people. I've been meeting them. I've been talking to them. I met with Prime Minister Trudeau, who I call Governor Trudeau. I met with numerous foreign leaders. Go ahead.
Sir, this next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the United States.
Yeah, that's a good one. Birthright. That's a big one.
What about that one in the course? That one is likely to be.
Could be. I think we have good grounds, but you could be right. I mean, you'll find out. It's ridiculous. We're the only country in the world that does this with birthright, as you know. And it's just absolutely ridiculous, but we'll see. We have very good grounds.
Sir,
People have wanted to do this for decades.
Sir, this is a proclamation declaring a national emergency at the southern border of the United States.
That's a big one. A lot of big ones, huh? You know what that means, right?
President Trump, did President Biden leave you a letter?
He may have. Wait. Don't they leave it in the desk? I don't know. Oh,
What's in there?
thank you, Peter. It could have been years before we got it. Wow. Thank you.
Can you read that on the outside?
Is it a gift card?
Maybe we should all read it together.
Let's read it.
Well, maybe I'll read it first and then make that
That
determination.
sounds great.
Peter, thank you very much. I may not have seen this for months.
Happy to help with passing the torch.
I did. I left him one in the desk just like this.
What are you talking about?
Unification of our country. I didn't know that he gave a pardon to his family because he did it during my speech.
She didn't tell you in the limo?
No, he didn't tell me. No. He did it. They released it during my speech. During my speech. So all I could do was say, excuse me, I'd like to come back and speak some more. So no, we were surprised by that. It's bad precedent, obviously.
Where are you thinking on tariffs on Mexico, given these actions you're signing on the border?
Well, we're thinking in terms of 25% on Mexico and Canada because they're allowing vast numbers of people. Canada's a very bad abuser also. Vast numbers of people to come in and fentanyl to come in.
When do you think you would enact those?
I think February 1st.
Are you planning on keeping notes of that?
I think we'll do it February 1st.
25% on both, sir.
Sir,
On each.
On each.
Yeah.
this is an executive order taking a large number of executive actions to secure our southern border.
Okay. Sounds reasonable.
President Trump, we remember 4 years ago, Barack Obama had told you that the top threat to the country was going to be North Korea. Did Joe Biden tell you what he thinks the top threat to the country is?
No.
Why not?
I think we have a lot of them. Right now, I think we have a lot. I think North Korea turned out to be good. I was very friendly with him. He liked me. I liked him. We got along very well. They thought that was a tremendous threat. Now, he is a nuclear power, but we got along. I think he'll be happy to see him coming back.
And
I think he has tremendous condo capability. He's got a lot of shoreline.
Thank you, sir.
Are you going to work with countries from South America to coordinate on immigration?
About who?
about immigration in general?
This is an executive order. Sorry, sir.
I'm fine with legal immigration. I like it. We need people. And I'm absolutely fine with it. We want to have it. We need it because we're going to have a lot of companies coming in to avoid tariffs. You know, if you don't want tariffs, all you have to do is build your plant in the U.S. So we're going to have a lot of workers coming in, but we have to have legal immigration.
Do you have a date in mind for when you want to put on the China tariffs that you talked about?
Which one?
60%?
No. You're talking about which? Say it again.
The China tariffs, the
Oh,
broad
China?
tariffs?
Well, as you know, I put on large tariffs on China, and they've really been forced to leave them. And if we didn't leave them, you wouldn't have one steel mill that's open in this country because they were dumping massive amounts of steel. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars from China because they were unable to terminate the tariffs I put on China because it was too much money and the budgets didn't work and other reasons too. No, I mean, we're going to have meetings and calls with President Xi. I spoke to President Xi last week, as you know. Did you know that? I had a very good phone call.
Did you please come with NATO at this moment? Are you planning to use your NATO allies?
No, NATO has to pay more money. NATO has to pay 5%. We're in the Ukraine war by $200 billion more than NATO. It's ridiculous because
Crazy.
It affects them a lot more. We have an ocean in between. And we've spent $200 billion more on Ukraine than NATO has spent. And they've got to equalize.
Did you talk to Xi about the Ukraine war?
Yeah.
Because China and Brazil together has a proposal to bring Russia and Ukraine to talk.
That's good. That's fine. I'm ready.
When are you going to talk with the Brazilian president?
How did Brazil get involved? This is a new one.
When are you going to talk to Lula?
Are you from Brazil?
Brazil.
Ah,
When are you talking?
that's why they're involved, I guess.
When are you going to talk with the Brazilian president? How do you see our relationship with Latin America and Brazil?
Great. Should be great. They need us much more than we need them. We don't need them. They need us. Everybody needs us.
This is
Mr. President, it sounds like you will not proceed with additional China tariffs necessarily, depending on how talks go with President Xi. Is that correct?
What does that define that?
Well, you're asking, you pledged in the campaign potentially a 10% tariff on China or as much as.
Because of fentanyl.
Right. So I'm asking where you're.
That's only because of fentanyl. There are other things too.
Are additional.
And a very
tariffs-
big thing is the Panama Canal. China controls the Panama Canal. What's that all about?
I
They're
think
not
that's-
supposed to be good. When Jimmy Carter gave it, which was a terrible mistake, he didn't do it. He didn't give it to China. He gave it to Panama. And China controls the Panama Canal.
So are China tariffs.
And we're not going to allow that to happen.
Are they still on the table or is that?
We're not going to allow that to happen.
Thank you, sir.
What can we expect of the countries in NATO that spend the least amount of money, like Spain, France, below the 5%?
Spain is very low. And yet, are they a BRICS nation?
What?
They're a BRICS nation, Spain. You know what a BRICS nation is? Well, you'll figure it out. But, and if the BRICS nations want to do that, that's okay, but we're going to put at least a 100% tariff on the business they do with the United States. You know what the BRICS is, right? You guys know.
Brazil,
You know what I'm
Russia.
saying, right? You know what I'm saying.
Sir,
Spain is not
this is
in
an.
the
So
this
it's
is-
not even a threat. In fact, since I made that statement, Biden said, well, they have us over a barrel. I said, no, we have them over a barrel. And there's no way they're going to be able to do that.
This is an executive order relating to.
100% tariffs, those countries, like Spain.
As a BRICS nation, yes.
But how
They'll have a
can you
100% tariff if they so much as even think about doing what they thought,
Can you explain how is
which, and therefore they'll give it up immediately. So will China give it up.
So this is about reforming the system of hiring in the federal government to ensure that merit is the lodestar of hiring decisions
As
as
per
opposed
the Supreme Court.
to other matters. Yes, sir.
Here's a big deal, merit. Our country is going to be based on merit again. Can you believe it?
Mr. President, you would say you would end the Russia-Ukraine war on your first day in office. Where do things stand right now? How do you intend?
Well, there's only a half a day. I have another half a day left. We'll see. We want to get it done.
This is an order creating and implementing the Department of Governmental Efficiency, known as DOGE.
Okay, that's a big one.
Is Elon Musk gonna get a West Wing office?
No, he's getting an office for about 20 people that we're hiring to make sure that these get implemented. We have a problem in this country. You sign an executive order, it doesn't get done for 6 months. As an example, when we allowed the J6 hostages to go out, it might not be approved under the old days for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 months. You know, they had a good ruling from the Supreme Court, and it's like nothing happened. That ruling was 6 months ago, you know that. And it was like they didn't have a ruling. They've been treated very unfair. The judges have been absolutely brutal. The prosecutors have been brutal. Nobody's ever treated people in this country like that.
Mr. President, are you commuting the sentences of anyone who assaulted a police officer on January 6th?
Well, we're looking at 2 police officers, actually, that Washington police officers who went after an illegal, and things happened and they ended up putting them in jail. They got 5-year jail sentences. You know the case. And we're looking at that in order to give them we got to give them a break.
But is there clemency in your actions today for
Well,
anyone?
it would be a pardon. That would be a pardon. The one I'm talking about would be a pardon.
Here you go, sir. This is
Should there be punishment for the people who assaulted law enforcement officers that day?
Well, I will say this, they've been in jail for a long time already. I see murderers in this country get 2 years, 1 year, and maybe no time. So they've already been in jail for a long time. These people have been destroyed. What they've done to these people is outrageous. There's rarely been anything like it in the history of our country. And even people that were aggressive, and in many cases, I believe they happen to be outside agitators, but you know, what do I know, right? But I think they were outside agitators. There were outside agitators involved. And obviously the FBI was involved because Ray admitted the FBI was involved. Didn't he say 23 people indirectly or directly were involved? And it was then 26. That's a lot of people. Now we got to take care of these people have been treated so badly. It's never happened before. What happened in Seattle where they took over a big portion of the city? What happened in Portland where they burn down the city every day and people die? Nothing happened to anybody. But they go after these people violently. I mean, they're still going after brand new people. They found somebody else with a picture. There's never been anything like this. And you know, it's almost 100%. Think of this, almost 100% of the people are convicted. 100%. It's Washington, D.C. People go into a trial and they say, oh, I have a wonderful lawyer and I didn't do anything wrong. And they end up in shackles almost immediately and jail. No, we're not going to let it happen.
About Greenland, we have some interest in buying it, but is there any other option that would satisfy you?
About what?
Greenland, instead of buying it.
Finland?
Greenland.
Oh, Greenland. Greenland is a wonderful place. We need it for international security. And I'm sure that Denmark will come along. I think it's costing them a lot of money to maintain it, to keep it. The people of Greenland are not happy with Denmark, as you know. I think they're happy with us. We had representatives, my son and representatives went up there 2 weeks ago, and they like us. So we'll see what happens. But Greenland is necessary, not for us, it's necessary for international security. You have Russian boats all over the place. You have China boats all over the place, warships. And they can't maintain it.
So he was serious about Greenland. I didn't know that.
Who?
Did you plan to meet President Putin, sir?
I'll be meeting with President Putin.
When?
I don't know. I can't. It's being set up.
Your first trip foreign country, sir?
So first foreign trip typically has been with UK. But I did it with Saudi Arabia last time because they agreed to buy $450 billion worth of our product. I said, I'll do it, but you have to buy American product. And they agreed to do that. They bought $450 billion. It was the least reported story I've ever been involved in.
And now, where are you going to go now?
Well, I don't know. if Saudi Arabia wanted to buy another 450 or 500, we'll up it for all the inflation.
Mr. President, you say you were going
think
to
I'd
end the
probably go
war first day. How do you plan to end the Ukraine war?
Well, we're going to try and get it done as quickly as possible.
Do you want to push Israel and Saudi
It should have
Arabia?
never started. You know, the war with Ukraine and Russia should have never started. It would have never started if I were president.
Will you push Israel and Saudi Arabia to normalize relations?
I don't think I have to push them. I think it's going to happen, but maybe not quite yet. But they'll end up being in the Accords, the Abraham Accords.
President Trump,
I think Saudi Arabia will end up being in the Abraham Accords.
this year?
Could be, but soon, not in a very long way. Oh, look at that. It says TikTok.
Oh, my God.
My, what is that all about?
First, we have Alaska, sir. This is an executive order relating to unleashing Alaska's potential as an energy reservoir for the entire nation.
And
Let's
what about
go.
Anwar?
I believe that would be included in aspects of the
So
order.
we're opening up Anwar.
On
Wow.
the TikTok piece, President Trump, you and your members of your team now used to warn about the dangers of TikTok spying on Americans. What changed that you're not worried about that anymore?
These are some good
Well,
questions.
Depends
though.
on the deal. I mean, I may not do the deal or I may do the deal. TikTok is worthless. Worthless. If I don't approve it, it has to close. I learned that from the people that own it. If I don't do the deal, it's worthless, worth nothing. If I do the deal, it's worth maybe $1 trillion, $1 trillion.
Wow.
So if I do the deal I'm talking about doing it for the United States. If I do the deal for the United States, then I think we should get half.
The TikTok
In other
CEO
words, I think the U.S. should be entitled to get half of TikTok. And congratulations, TikTok has a good partner. And that would be worth, could be $500 billion or something. It's crazy. The numbers are crazy. But it's worthless if the president doesn't sign, then it's worthless. If the president does sign, it's worth maybe $1 trillion. So I think like a joint venture, I think we would have a joint venture with the people from TikTok. We'll see what happens. I mean, that's one of many ideas I've
The
had.
CEO is now, did he say that he's open to that idea?
Who?
The CEO of TikTok is around.
Oh, I think he'd probably like it because he's got nothing. They really have nothing. It's passed in Congress. It gives the president a right to make a deal or to close it. And we have 90 days to make that decision. But I could see making a deal where the U.S. gets 50% of TikTok, polices it a little bit or a lot, depends on them. But remember, they make telephones in China. They make all sorts of things in China. Nobody ever complains about that. Here they're complaining about this. There's so many different products made in China, and nobody ever complained about it. The only one they complain about is TikTok. And TikTok is largely young people. I guess I have a warm spot for TikTok that I didn't have originally. But, I went on TikTok, and I won young people up by 36%, Peter. And Republicans typically don't do too well with young people. But it's a different Republican Party.
Would the U.S. government buy a portion of TikTok then, or how would it get that 50%?
No, you take 50% of TikTok for the approval that TikTok can continue in business. And they'd have a great partner. The U.S. would be their partner. But the U.S. essentially would be paid for doing that half of the value of TikTok.
Would there be a private sector owner as
Could
well? in
be,
the
yeah,
US?
could be a lot. Tell you what, every rich person has called me about TikTok
You wanted to block TikTok. Why did you change your mind?
because I got to use it. And remember, TikTok is largely about kids, young kids. If China's going to get information about young kids, I don't know.
Are you
I think,
Chinese?
to be honest with you, I think we have bigger problems than that.
Right. There we
But,
go.
but when you take a look at telephones that are made in China and all the other things that are made in China, military equipment made in China.
Come on.
TikTok, I think TikTok is not their biggest problem. But there's big value in TikTok if it gets approved. If it doesn't get approved, there's no value. So if we create that value, why aren't we entitled to like half?
Sir, if you don't 90 days, will you shut them down?
Does Biden ever do news conferences like this? How many news conferences, Peter, has he done like this?
Like this?
None.
0.
And it would be zero for the next infinity For infinity, it would be zero.
Mr. President, when you plan to talk to President Musk, going to help implement the executive orders? I think you mentioned
No,
implementation. in your
Elon, no. Elon is very busy sending rocket ships up to various places with lots of satellites on them.
What is your reaction to the confirmation of Marco Rubio, and what does it mean for Latin America?
Which one?
Marco Rubio.
Marco Rubio. You said Marco.
Marco Rubio.
Yeah, I'm on TikTok. I'm on the
I think he's
TikTok.
great. I think Marco's doing a fantastic job. I think he's going to get a lot of votes. I think he's going to be at 90% or something. I mean, I'm hearing very good. People know him. They know him in the Senate. They know he's good. He's doing a good job. I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know what's going to happen with that. He's got some very strong ideas though, Marco.
You signed,
Which one did you sign, Mr. President?
Did you sign the TikTok order?
Yeah.
Yes, that was just.
President Marco Rubio's ideas is
Just signed it.
How many
still
did you sign?
changing Venezuela, changing power. Are you still committed with Maduro leaving power in Venezuela?
Well, we're going to find out about that too, because we're going to probably stop buying oil from Venezuela. We don't need their oil.
Another embargo like the first term?
No, could be, but we don't want to buy, we don't have to buy their oil. We have plenty of oil for ourselves. So
President Trump,
that'll change Venezuela quite a bit.
President Trump, there was a lot of concern about this during the campaign. The question
Okay, I'm gonna stop for a hot second just so just to break up a little bit. I think I realize what people don't like about Trump. And it's probably the exact same thing that you like about Trump. Whether he's a bad person or not, you cannot deny the fact that he literally sat right there and is answering these questions right off the cuff, right off the rip. Now, maybe he's selling wolf tickets. Maybe everything he said is a complete and utter lie. But I think we know that it's not. We know that he's telling the truth. And he's much smarter, much more engaged, much more involved in this than people want to give him credit for. And I think, and I've talked about this before, shout out to Sprosky lady up in the building. I've talked about this before. People don't like folk who have a command for their niche. They don't like it when somebody's very direct and very forthcoming as it relates to what it is that they specialize in. So like, I cannot talk to you about making creme brulee. I know nothing about it. So I'm not going to be very articulate. I will not be very clear, but there are other topics, far other topics that I can be very demonstrative and extremely direct on. And Trump is very direct about the things that he wants to do. And he's very matter of fact, actually. Yeah, we're just going to take half of their proceeds. Yeah, we're just going to name the Gulf of America. Yeah, we're just going to open up. We're just going to start drilling in Anwar tomorrow. We don't need Venezuelan gas. Oh man, they're going to pay those tariffs. He's just very direct. People don't like that. They want that. They want the dance around. They want the woulda, shoulda, coulda, maybe, Faby. But he's not doing that. He's literally being very direct. And I think that's what people don't like about him. And if you go back and watch the Joe Rogan interview with Trump and what Joe Rogan said after the interview with Trump, he said the guy is amazing. Like literally, this is how he is. And in his niche, he's in the pocket, if you will. He's in his little vein, and he's able to talk about what it is that he's doing and what it is that he's going to do. I'm pretty sure you've seen some topics where he's like, I don't know about that yet. So he doesn't have a command on it yet. I bet you if somebody just asked him a random question about Pokemon cards, he would have no answer for it. But he probably would start dancing around, truth be told. He'd probably start dancing around something. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting. But I just think that's interesting how he's approaching these questions. And yo, shout out to the impromptu press conference, because this is actually really refreshing. Because again, I liked how he took the jab at Biden, but Biden could never have done this. Let's go. I think we're going to go. Hold on one second. There we go. Let's go.
Question that only works today. Are you a dictator on day one?
No.
He looked right at the camera and said no.
Can't imagine even being called that. No, I believe in the sanctity of the vote. The Democrats didn't because they cheated like dogs, but I believe in the sanctity, and this was too big to rig. This last election was just too big to rig. But really the opposite.
When do you plan to speak to President Putin?
Could be very soon.
And you talked a bit about Ukraine and Russia, but how long do you think it would take to end that conflict? And
I have to speak to President Putin. We're going to have to find out. He can't be thrilled. He's not doing so well. I mean, he's grinding it out, but most people thought that war would have been over in about 1 week. And now you're into 3 years, right? So he can't be thrilled. It's not making him look very good. Now, eventually, you know, I mean, it's a big machine, so things will happen, but I think he'd be very well off to end that war. We have numbers that almost 1 million Russian soldiers have been killed. About 700,000 Ukrainian soldiers are killed. Russia's bigger, they have more soldiers to lose, but that's no way to run a country.
What did your TikTok order do, Mr. President?
Just gave me the right to sell it or close it. Essentially with TikTok, I have the right to either sell it or close it. And we'll make that determination. And we may have to get an approval from China too. I'm not sure, but I'm sure they'll approve it. And if they don't approve it, it would be somewhat of a hostile act, I think. But it's good for China if it gets approved.
Mr. President, so you're not guaranteeing that TikTok will be around?
Oh my gosh.
No, but it could very well be. It makes sense for it to be because it's got tremendous value. But if we create the value by approving, you know, in other words, that approval gives it tremendous value. If that's the case, then we should be entitled to 50% as a country. You understand? You haven't heard that one before, right? That's called a joint venture. And nobody ever thought that way before. Well, I don't know. I think you have a lot of people that would be interested in TikTok with the United States as a partner.
Mr. President, what was it like walking into the Oval Office this evening?
Oh, what a great feeling.
I can imagine. That'd probably be crazy.
Do you like this town better now than in 2017?
Well, we're very experienced now. You would say nobody's ever had experience like I have. I've dealt with some very good people. I've dealt with some very bad people, and I know who the bad ones are and the good ones are. You know, don't forget, I was very successful in primarily the real estate business. And people used to say, who's worse, a politician or a vicious real estate developer? And I'd always say, you know, the real estate developer is far worse. But after about 3 months and getting to know scum like Adam Schiff and other people like that, I said, no, actually, real estate people are quite nice by comparison.
You said you plan to speak with President Putin soon. What about President Zelensky, and what's your message?
Yeah, I would, but he's told me he wants to make a deal. I mean, Zelensky wants to make a deal. I don't know if Putin does. He might not. I don't know. He should make a deal. I think he's destroying Russia by not making a deal. I think Russia's going to be in big trouble. You take a look at their economy, you take a look at the inflation in Russia. So I would hope, I got along with him great, and you know, I would hope he wants to make a deal.
Mr. President, are you keeping U.S. sanctions on Russia until he makes a deal?
Well, sanctions or tariffs. I think the word tariff is much better because it keeps your dollar stronger. I think tariffs are more effective. I mean, I use sanctions on Iran. Iran was broke. When I left office, Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, none. They were flat broke. And October 7th would have never happened. And I think you all know that. It would have never happened. They had no money. Now they're rich, but you know, they're weakened in a different way. I would say that the one attack by Israel really set them back. It really set them back. The Pagers and others. You know, the attack on air defense was a bad attack for Iran.
What are you signing now?
It's an executive order relating to reforms to the federal workforce, including to the senior executive service.
We're getting rid of all of the cancer. I call it cancer, the cancer caused by the Biden administration.
How confident are you, Mr. President, that you can keep the ceasefire in Gaza and conclude the 3 phases of the deal?
I'm not confident. That's not our war, it's their war, but I'm not confident. But I think they're very weakened on the other side.
Do you support the 2-state?
Gaza, boy, I looked at a picture of Gaza. Gaza is like a massive demolition site. That place it's really got to be rebuilt in a different way.
Do you plan to help rebuilding Gaza?
I might. You know, Gaza is interesting. It's a phenomenal location. On the sea, best weather. You know, everything's good. It's like some beautiful things could be done with it, but it's very interesting. But some fantastic things could be done with Gaza.
How do you see the future in governance for Gaza?
Well, it depends. I can't imagine you could have, well, you certainly can't have the people that were there. Most of them are dead, by the way, right? Most of them are dead. But they didn't exactly run it well. Run viciously and badly. So you can't have that.
On TikTok, sir, you pause.
Man, stop talking about TikTok.
Until you know what the resolution on TikTok will be.
No, if China didn't approve it, we could put tariffs on China. Don't forget, China charges us tariffs and we charge them very little, except for what I did. I put a lot of, we took in hundreds of billions of dollars. But until I came along, China never paid 10 cents to this country. They ripped us off and they never paid anything. But like if we wanted to make a deal with TikTok and it was a good deal and China wouldn't approve it, then I think ultimately they'd approve it because we'd put tariffs on China. Maybe. I'm not saying I would, but you certainly could do that. And if we said, well, you're not going to approve it, then that's a certain hostility and we'll put tariffs of 25, 30, 40, 50%, even 100%. And if we did that, I think they'd approve it.
President Trump, you've seen the other living presidents a couple times in the last few months. If you ever had to call on one of them for advice about anything that's going on here, which one would you call?
It's interesting. Well, I thought Bill Clinton was a very good politician. I don't think he was used properly. I think they disrespected him. When Hillary was running, he came back and he said, you know, you better get up to Michigan and Wisconsin. You remember that, Peter? Every house has a Trump sign on it. And they all laughed at it because the Republicans hadn't won Michigan or Wisconsin for decades, long time. And they all laughed at Bill Clinton. Like, the hell does he know? And he turned out to be right because I won both of them. And then we just won both in this election too. We won Wisconsin and Michigan and every other swing state. We won all the swing states, all 7. They talked about 7 swing states. We won them all. So, but Bill Clinton he had a great political sense, I think.
You looked like you were having a good conversation with President Obama at President
I was. And you'd like to know what it was? Oh. Everybody wants to know. I know, I wouldn't want to, but we were having some crazy conversation. Why do you asking a question like that? I don't think you want to know. You might not. You might be insulted.
It's an executive order relating to holding former government officials accountable for unlawful disclosure of sensitive information. This next one, sir, is a declaration of a national energy emergency.
That's a big one. You know what that allows you to do? That means you can do whatever you have to do to get out of that problem. And we do have that kind of an emergency.
President Trump, at some point will you use your powers of the presidency to tell Americans who are concerned about drones?
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. I will.
Can you tell us now?
In fact, I'd like to know because I just got here.
What do you think?
I just came here. I've been here for what, 15 minutes now.
Do people listening to this still out loud?
And I got to read this letter too because of you. I found this letter.
I can read it for you.
It's interesting. Yeah, I know you would. Your father would too.
But is it anything you drones? Is it anything that people need to be worried
No,
about?
I think it's terrible. I would like to find out what it is and tell the people.
And can you commit to some kind of?
In fact, I'd like to do that. Could we find out what that was, Susie? Okay. Yeah. Why don't we find out immediately? I can't imagine it's an enemy, or there would have been, people would have gotten blown up all over. Maybe they were testing things. I don't know why they wouldn't have said what it was. They had a lot of them flying over Bedminster, which is interesting.
And with the events today and yesterday, was everything moved inside just for cold weather, or was there some kind of security?
No security, because they had everything shut down to drones. You can shut that down pretty easily if you're sophisticated. They're very sophisticated, these people. No, it was just cold weather, and we made a good move because, first of all, I thought it was incredible in the Capitol today. You know why I liked it? Because I got great reviews on that speech. I got great reviews. Can you believe it? They actually were fair. Maybe the fake news is changing.
Unleashing energy production.
Unleashing energy production. But I thought it was, I think having it in the Capitol is great. Obviously, you can take care of the people you have to take care of. The city was booming. And if we would have done it outside, people would have been hurt because it was really cold. It was like, looked sunny. But when you stood outside for 10 minutes, people were running back in. It was really cold and really windy. The wind brings it down a lot. So we made the right decision. You couldn't have stayed. I don't think you could have had it out. You know how cold it was today. It was, people went out for a little while just to test it. They couldn't stay out more than 10 minutes. They all came back in. So we would have had a disaster if we did that. And people would have been hurt.
The unlawful disclosure deal, is that related to the Hunter Biden situation?
Which one?
The one on unlawful disclosures by federal officials, is that related? to
No,
that?
I think it's just more general than that. It's not Hunter Biden. I was surprised that President Biden would go and pardon his whole family, because that makes him look very guilty. You know, I could have pardoned my family. I could have pardoned myself, my family. I said, if I do that, it's going to make me look very guilty. I don't think I'd be sitting here, frankly. If I did that, I don't think I'd be sitting here right now, because I would have shown that you're guilty. But by pardoning his brother or brothers, by pardoning all of those people that he pardoned, by pardoning J6, the Unselect Committee, they destroyed all of the documents. They deleted all of the information. There's no information. And a lot of the information pertains to Nancy Pelosi, because she was given 100, I mean, you know this, it's on tape with her daughter. Nancy Pelosi was responsible for not taking advantage of 10,000 soldiers or 1,000. You wouldn't have you could have used 400. It was a relatively small crowd. It wasn't the crowd that was at the mall. It was a small crowd. So I was a little bit surprised that he did it, because it makes him look guilty. I mean, he's going to have to live with it. Now, with that being said, it's unbelievable precedent it creates for a president. But the precedent is unbelievable. Now, maybe every president that leaves office, they're going to pardon every person they ever met, so they don't have some lunatic like a deranged Jack Smith, who's a total lunatic, by the way. Not a smart guy either, he's a dummy. But we beat the hell out of him. And I helped my reputation.
Do you think you'd have to do the same thing at the end of this term?
Well, I guess now I have precedent to do it. I wouldn't want to do that. No, I think it makes you look very guilty. I think it makes Biden look very bad, very weak, and very guilty. And I mean, he pardoned everybody. How about this J6 committee? Why is he pardoning them? The reason is because if you delete and destroy documentation, everything, they have nothing, because they were guilty as hell. They rigged it. It was a rigged deal. And when you do that, they look very bad. But I was a little surprised he did it. Liz Cheney, I mean, she's a lunatic. And she lost by the greatest margin in the history of a politician running for Congress, like 40 points. The reason it was the greatest is because anybody losing that badly is going to drop out. But she's a nut job. She doesn't drop out. You know, she just keeps chugging forward. And she lost by almost 40 points. That's the biggest number anybody's ever lost by. But why would Biden do that? He pardoned her and pardoned everybody. The reason is that they destroyed documents. And if you're even in a civil case, which this wouldn't be, I mean, people go to jail for a long time for doing that. What's this one?
That's unleashing American energy, sir. It relates to easing permitting processes and other regulatory systems to ensure that we can produce energy efficiently to drive the American economy forward.
President Trump, looking around the office, we noticed some changes in the way the Biden had set up. Can you confirm that you have added back the Diet Coke plan?
I think first of all, I just got here. So my people came in. They have extraordinary decorator sense, right? Let me just see some of the pictures. Oh, that's a good one. I could live with him. I could live with George Washington, I can tell you. I can live with Thomas Jefferson. I can live with most of them. They took a very safe route. They don't have any bad ones up there.
Withdrawing from
What is this one?
Withdrawing from the World Health Organization, sir.
Ooh, that's a big one. So we paid $500 million to World Health when I was here, and I terminated it. China with 1.4 billion people. We have 350. Nobody knows what we have because so many people came in illegally. But let's say we have 325. They had 1.4 billion. They were paying 39 million. We were paying 500 million. It seemed a little unfair to me. So that wasn't the reason, but I dropped out. They offered me to come back for 39 million. In theory, it should be less than that, but you know. And when Biden came back, they came back for 500 million. He knew that you could have come back for 39 million. They wanted us back so badly. So we'll see what happens. Pretty sad to think of it. China pays 39 million and we pay 500 million. And China's a bigger country.
Mr. President, you spoke about inflation today in your remarks. What actions are you taking today that will have a direct impact for Americans on their everyday costs to bring the cost down?
The biggest thing and factor for inflation is energy. They screwed up my energy policy, and then they went back to it. You know, they hurt it really badly, and then they went back to it, and they started drilling more. But by that time, it was too late. Many of these things that we're signing, and that Doug Burgum is going to be signing, and Chris Wright, who's phenomenal at, Energy, Department of Energy, We're going to be taking we're going to make a lot of money from energy. We have more than anybody else. We're going to make a lot of money from energy. We're going to make a lot of money from tariffs. You know, European Union charges us, they have a VAT tax of 20%, but it's really much higher than that. And that's the equivalent, almost the equivalent of a tariff. And they're tough. They're very tough. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take almost anything. And yet we take their cars, we take their farm product. We take a lot from them. So, you know, we have like a $300 billion deficit with the European Union. So we'll straighten that out with either tariffs or they have to buy our oil. The one thing they can do, or oil and gas, the one thing they can do to catch up quickly, buy our oil and gas. And they should do that.
Will you travel to China this year?
Yeah, it could be. I've had the invite. I would do it, yeah.
Talking about the European Union and the tariffs, like, what do you mean when you say that European Union has like is part of BRICS?
That a what?
BRICS.
Oh, BRICS. No, I was talking about BRICS. BRICS are 6 nations. I think it's 7 nations. And they were looking to do a number in the United States. And if they do that, they won't be happy about what's going to happen to them.
Are you still considering a universal tariff, Mr. President, on all countries?
I may, yeah, but we're not ready for that yet. We may wrap it, because essentially all countries take advantage of the U.S. We don't make any good deals in the U.S. It's amazing in a way that we exist. We don't make good deals. We don't have any good deals. We have a deficit with almost, not all, there are a couple, I won't tell you their names because I don't want them to find out about it because they'll feel stupid. But there are a couple of countries that actually don't make money with us. But I don't want to let you know because they'll immediately change that. But we're gonna do, I tell you what, our country has an amazing economic future. Everybody believe that?
What kind of universal tariff if you did do one?
Well, you put a universal tariff on anybody doing business in the United States because they're coming in and they're stealing our wealth, they're stealing our jobs, they're stealing our companies, they're hurting our companies. So you put a tariff on to keep them from doing that.
Mr. President, you scratch yourself a whole bunch of billionaires today. President Biden is their role as what about oligarchy and what are you respond to that?
Well, he had a lot of guys, and then they found out that he didn't know what the hell he was talking about, and I think they deserted him. They deserted him, those same guys. Look, I don't make pretenses, smart guys, but there are a lot of smart people around, but they did desert him. They were all with him, every one of them. Now they're all with me. I don't know. It's not going to get anything from me. I don't need money. But I do want the nation to do well, and they're smart people, and they have, they create a lot of jobs. And if they don't do it, China's going to do it. You know, what they've done is they've taken industries and they've taken it away. They outsmarted China. And, we sort of like that. It's okay. They've done a great job. A lot of them, not all of them.
Protecting women from radical gender ideologies.
Ooh.
Mr. President, going back to the World Health Organization, you were the president during COVID. Don't you see the importance of organization like that to coordinate a global response?
Sure, I do, but not when you're being ripped off like we are by the World Health. World Health ripped us off. Everybody rips off the United States, and that's it. It's not going to happen anymore. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, Phil.
One last one, sir. This is your Martin
Thank you,
Luther King
guys.
proclamation.
Thank you, President. Thank you, sir. Thank you, President.
Thank you.
Let's go. Thanks, President. Thank you, guys. Let's go, guys.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
You're just going there for a photo op and you turn it into they turn it into a miniature press conference and you get some real valid questions answered. That's crazy. I mean, shout out to 47. I mean, again, you might not like him, get in your feelings. He's still your president. He sat right there answering questions in his pocket. He stayed in his pocket. He wasn't talking about something that was way outside of his pay grade, so to speak. And that was kind of cool. Shout out to President Trump. Shout out to him. I want to thank all of you all who've already jumped into the chat. Thank you. I see so many new faces, so many day ones, as well as the first days that have jumped in. Shout out to all of y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out with us today. We looked at President Trump's initial signing of several executive orders in the stadium during his acceptance speech, after his victory speech. Please forgive me. And then he went to the Oval Office and signed the rest of them. We also looked at the Guardian article that explained many of the executive orders and what they mean. The rollback of 78 Biden initiatives, renaming Denali the Port of America, that kind of stuff like that. That was kind of wild. So we looked at those, but I want to talk about another topic that a lot of people have emailed me about. Shout out to Willie Doc. Shout out to Marshall the Plug. Shout out to other people who've asked me about that prayer. You know what I'm talking about. If you watch the acceptance speech, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to bring this in. Hold on one second. All right. I'm going to bring this in, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let because this is the prayer. And a lot of people, again, Willie Doc reached out to me. I talked to several other people off camera about this topic. And this is what most people saw. I actually have his interview that he did like 10 minutes after he got done with this, and it adds more context to it. It doesn't make it better. In my opinion, it makes it worse. So we're going to look at this, and this is the benediction prayer by Lorenzo Souls from Detroit. So I know I asked one of the Detroitians earlier, Michiganians earlier, to say, hey, I want to hear what you think about this. So I want to talk about this, and I want to hear what Michiganians, especially if you're from Detroit, because apparently this pastor is a pastor in Detroit proper. So let's bring it in. Let's check it out, and we'll go. One in the chat when you can hear.
47th president. Heavenly Father, we're so grateful that you gave our 45th and now our 47th president a millimeter miracle. We are grateful that you are the one that have called him for such a time as this, that America would begin to dream again. We pray that we would fulfill the true meaning of our creed, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. We pray that you use our president, that we will live in a nation where we will not be judged by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, we are so grateful today that you will use our 47th president so we would sing with new meaning, my country, 'tis of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and because America is called to be a great nation, we believe that you will make this come true. So let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous hilltops of California, but God, we're asking you not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain, Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and every molehill in Mississippi, from every state, every city, every village, and every hamlet. And when we let freedom ring, we will be able to speed up that day where all of your children, black men and white men, Protestant and Catholic, Jew and Gentile, will be able to sing in the meaning of that old Negro spiritual, free at last. Free at last. Thank you, God Almighty. We are free at last. If you believe where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Come on, put your hands together and give your great God great glory.
All right. So that was the infamous prayer. A lot of people had something to say about that yesterday, and I got something to say as well, because that's what I'm going to do. That was completely and utterly inappropriate. That was inappropriate. And in a moment, I'm going to play his interview that he did after the fact. I'm not saying that the gentleman is not genuine. I'm not saying that the gentleman is not passionate, But what he gave is what's called the benediction prayer. And y'all know I'm Presbyterian, so we hold fast to those things. So a benediction prayer or a benediction blessing is usually the last thing that you hear from the pastor or the speaker or the preacher as church is ending. And it's usually a proclamation of a blessing from God, and most of the time it's from scripture. So a perfect example is, may the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent one from another. Or again, we here as Presbyterians, we love singing, praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise him, all creatures here below. Praise him above the heavenly hosts. Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. So that's actually the response of the congregation from the benediction that's given by the pastor. So you can see that it's not just something willy-nilly. It's usually something that should be because it would be demonstratively the last thing you hear from the preacher, the speaker, the pastor, as you're preparing to leave from the fellowship of worshiping God. So it's kind of a big deal. Okay, it's kind of a big deal. So you don't want to be willy-nilly about it. And most of you all heard, as he was saying that, you heard like, wait, I heard that before. Right. He was actually benedicting the I have a dream speech. Jason, hold on, man, Jason. Now, Jason, you done picked on these, you pick on people too much. You're making that up. You just, you made that up, Jason. He didn't do that. He didn't
Jump right
benedict.
in. So can
He didn't benedict the MLK speech, did he? Yeah, he actually did. So instead of using scripture, instead of using any text from Holy Writ, instead of using any other benediction that's been given that has a biblical foundation, this gentleman actually took the I have a dream speech and benedicted the I have a dream speech. And I think you can probably already understand there's going to be some big problems with that. It's from a man, it's just from MLK. Now, we could talk about MLK and his problems for 2 days straight. That's not what my point is, though. That's not a benediction. There's God didn't tell us any of those things. And dare I even say that they don't actually land biblically anywhere for Christ's church. I'm gonna bring it in, and again, I'm not mad at the guy. He seems super passionate. I do have some problems with his, and you'll see in a moment when we bring in the interview, and you'll see where the problems come from. So let me bring it in so y'all can think that so y'all know that I didn't just make this up. So this is his interview that he did right after he got done with that prayer. And I'm using the word prayer as loosely as I can, because I do think that was inappropriate. I do think it was wrong. And an opportunity to make much of Christ and an opportunity to bring forth a clear understanding of the gospel. He's reciting King and doing performative dance movements and such of that nature. All right, here we go. Let's get it. Here it comes.
we'll just jump right in. So can you just start by telling me a little bit about what today has been like? Obviously, you've been able to pray over our nation on a major stage. What has today really felt like, been like for you?
I believe it's the prayers of our ancestors being answered. I believe Dr. King, his dream is being fulfilled. We know that Dr. King was a pastor, and we also know that Dr. King, he forced the hand of legislatures to make sure that Black people can enter into the promised land. For me today, I believe that this is the beginning of fulfilling a dream that Dr. King saw and he felt in his heart in 1963. But quite frankly, many of our communities are living in a nightmare. When you look at the 1,000 majority Black cities in our country, it represents 57 congressional districts, highest crime, highest poverty, highest illiteracy, highest human trafficking, highest foreclosures. That's a nightmare. My job is to pray and to believe that King's dream can be fulfilled and to do the work right here in Washington and in the great city of Detroit.
Walk me through what today has been like. What was the process like? Just talk me through what they had you doing.
Well, obviously, a lot of security. You know, you walk through a lot of security, but what I thank God regarding our president is he's never scripted me. He's never said I had to pray a certain way. He's never given me talking points, which I'm so humbled and so thankful for. So to be honest with you, I just talked to God. I stood up there. I talked to God in the context of Dr. King's dream.
Now, forgive me because I just got into the office and I wasn't able to.
I'm gonna forgive him. That's not appropriate, though. We again, I feel like this is just playing footloose and fancy free with an opportunity to pray for our nation, pray for our president on the biggest stage, dare I say, in the world yesterday. And you're over here doing performative dance, which was, again, highly inappropriate. It was super inappropriate. I don't know how much more inappropriate it could be.
Watch your prayer earlier today, but tell me about the context of that prayer. What was on your heart as you were speaking, not only to the nation, but of course to the man upstairs?
Traditionally, I'm asked to do the invocation. So that's to invoke the Spirit, right? But today I was asked to do the benediction, which is a prayer to command a blessing to the people. Dr. Martin Luther King, in his message, I essentially made it a prayer for our.
Well, I need to get the flag on the play sound effect. Like just flag on the play. Why don't you just take Chaucer? I heard Shakespeare sounds really poetic if you make it a prayer, or the lyrics from lyrics from a Prince song. You can make those a prayer. Why don't you do those? Like following this logic, you can take anything and make it a prayer. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry. This was so inappropriate. King's words are not Bible truth. Because when we really look at it, let's just break it down to the brass tacks. What King had and wanted in the I Have a Dream speech, anybody could have said that. An oil magnate could have said that. A billionaire could have said that. A Yahoo sitting in his office at home talking loud into his microphone could have said that. Anybody could say that. You don't need Christ to do those things that King talked about. There's no biblical point for those. There's no biblical mooring, if you will, for that. And so therefore, I'm going to go on a limb and say, you're not promised it. If God didn't say it, you're not promised it. Yesterday, I was having a problem with my camera, and I was like, look, I'm going to have to go buy a new camera. I'm not promised a new camera. You know what I'm saying? I'm not promised anything apart from the absolution of my sins through Christ and my entrance into heaven on his merit alone. That's all I'm promised. I'm not promised anything else. I really am not. So this idea, this notion that you're going to use King's words as some kind of prayer, sir, that's why it was so ridiculous. That's why. If you just wrote it out, take all the performative, all the actions and all the gyrations out, it didn't make any sense. Because again, it was basically the I Have a Dream speech. It was just a rehash of the I Have a Dream speech. And again, I was considering making a segment why people don't take Christianity and Christians seriously. This would be one of the main reasons. You're not taking God seriously, sir. You're literally making King's words akin to biblical truth. Make that make sense? And we're not even talking about King's doctrine. We're not even talking about King's ideology. We're just talking about the fact that King is a man. Why don't you just take the writings of Scott McAfee in the 7th Judicial Circuit of Cobb County or Fulton County? Please forgive me. Why don't you take him? Why don't you make that a prayer? What in the world? Let's go.
President. So obviously we know our 47th president, he's been to work for 4 hours right now. I'm watching. And we prayed the dream to be fulfilled. So I was the second benedictor. There were 3 in total. There was a rabbi, Rabbi Berman, and then myself and the Catholic priest, Father Frank Mann from New York.
I know you said that for you, this isn't about politics. It's about helping Detroiters. You mentioned the plight of a lot of Black communities throughout our nation. What are you hoping will be gained from you speaking today?
Well, a lot of people say they're not involved in politics. A lot of people believe pastors shouldn't be involved in politics. Well, we wouldn't celebrate Dr. King's birthday if he wasn't a pastor involved in politics. We know that if you're not involved in politics, if politics are involved in you, there are several areas that I'm focusing on, but I'm laser focused right now, specifically on housing, because there are over 1 million homes that we need to build in America, according to the Urban Development Finance Committee right here that Tim Scott leads. He's the chair right here in Washington. Scott Turner, he's the new secretary of HUD. We're focusing on modular building so we can build homes in our community and make sure Black contractors get what they should be in terms of federal funding, and make sure that our community doesn't get a handout, but a hand up, and we can be able to make Black America great again.
Was there anything that you heard during the ceremony today that was encouraging for you as we embark on the next 4 years with President Trump?
Well, I know that President Trump is an entrepreneur, right? Hearing about how he's going to make sure that our borders get contained, that's important because typically we've seen in our church 28 Venezuelans that have come right on the west side of Detroit looking for resources. And as a pastor, I can't turn people away, right? So we've been able to minister to them, but being able to control our borders is a huge piece of it. And also this spirit of ingenuity, this spirit of entrepreneurialism, this spirit of American first. It's so important because our cities like Detroit, Pontiac, Flint, Saginaw, we know that the auto industry got exported from those communities to overseas. And now we see that there's been a vacuum created. Hearing President Donald Trump, our 47th president, talk about what it looks like for us to put American first, that's the number one thing that we need to be doing. And that's what I'm most encouraged about.
Now, of course, President Trump has come with a lot of controversy. Even in the city of Detroit, the majority of voters in the city voted against him. The majority of the Black community voted against him. What would you say to those voters or those community members who are concerned about what you being on that stage represents or what it means?
I would ask them to come to the church every Friday and every Sunday. We do teaching on politics. A lot of times people are apolitical. Typically, their political affiliation, it's almost like religion, right? What happens is grandmother was a particular religion, grandfather was a particular religion. So you become that religion. Same thing with politics. We need to be willing to look at our paradigm. We need to challenge our philosophies, and we need to be willing to say, let's try something different because we've been up under Democratic rule and reign for so long, and we believe that a change should be coming.
Any other message you would want Detroiters to hear wrapping up this day, again, as we push forward for the next 4 years?
I would want Detroiters to be able to step out their homes, look around, right? See what's happening, not downtown, but see what's happening right now in your home. And maybe the Lions lost, but today Detroit won. These are going to be the next 4 years in history, the greatest years in the history of Detroit, specifically for those who are in the community, those who are in the neighborhoods.
That's all I have, Pastor. Anything else you would like to add? Think I might have missed, want people to know?
No, it's good. Anything you need from me, I'm here for you, okay?
All right. And like I said, that was super problematic. That whole the prayer, the benediction was absolutely inappropriate. It was a disgrace, especially given the fact that you had the opportunity to bring the gospel. You had the opportunity to make much of Christ in this little window of time, this 3 minutes that you had, and instead you made much more of Martin Luther King. There was no scripture even quoted in that closing benediction that I could ascertain. Maybe I missed something. I'll go back and watch it again. There was no scripture even quoted, so there was no book, chapter, verse, and context that we could even lean on and push back on and say, "Let me investigate." You drove everybody to King's "I Have a Dream" speech, and again, I think that's highly inappropriate. I know why a lot of people had problems with it on the left and on the right. I now totally understand why, because that was super inappropriate. There was no reason for it. He could have easily given a gospel-centric, Bible-focused benediction that made much of Christ and pointed people to that instead of whatever that was. I'm sorry, there was no way in the world that was, and I'm sorry that he thought that was appropriate. And again, I don't know much about him. I'm not making. I'm just going to talk about him on that stage and that interview because I'm sure there's tons of other things. I've seen some other things pop up in here, and it was very cringy. It was super cringy. It was super inappropriate, man. And I think when the day when you really boil it down to the brass tacks, the people don't need to know more about housing. The people don't need to know more about uh, entrepreneurship or black contractors getting their bid and getting a leg up, not a handout. That's not what people need. Because you know what? Any unbeliever could do that. Anybody can do that. What people need to know is that their sins are forgiven in Christ. And this man missed that opportunity. That's why I said he missed the point. The point. He was over the target and totally flubbed the ball, missed the mark 100%. But you know who didn't miss the mark? That's right. We're gonna make that transition. We're gonna say thank you so much, Ingram, for the $5 super sticker. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gemini Rising. We love having you here. Thank you for the $5 super. Now, right here, Amethyst Angel says, "Who's checking their investment portfolios?" I just looked at mine. Mine has been on the upward trajectory since about 10 o'clock yesterday. Let's keep track of the market's response. Agreed. Agreed. If you would give me a market update, I think it'd be fun to maybe pick some stock and see how they're doing and such like that. Not to turn this into a finance show because I am not a finance guy, but just to say like, hey, this is, and look, there's going to be some changes. There are going to be changes and some improvements. And I think at the end of the day, that's going to be a great thing. Um, Jason, please react to the melanated Marxist pulpit pimps spewing vitriol and ungodly messages. I am going to collaborate. I've been working actually with woke preacher clips and working on collaborating some of those. I'm going to do a special show for that, a whole special show on that topic. Amethyst Angel, thank you again for the $5 super. And actually, you are the stream sponsor. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show and being such a great support to this channel. Let me make sure I get you in there real quick right here. But yeah, I'm going to do that as a special live stream because there is a lot of it. And really, I think what happens is people don't want to admit that they're wrong and that they had it wrong. Because that's the thing. Like you could say real quick, say, hey, you know what? I thought that fat meat wasn't greasy. But after further reflecting, I realized that I was wrong. And people will be much more willing to say, accept you as saying that, hey, I was wrong about something than to keep doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down and pretend like you weren't wrong. So truthfully, I think a lot of people are missing the opportunity to say, hey, I was wrong. I thought Trump was going to be a dictator and what that lady say, march soldiers down the Capitol and rip up the Constitution and all that kind of crazy stuff. But ma'am, you're crazy. Shut up. But she could just say, hey, you know what? I was wrong. I was wrong. Instead of keep doubling, tripling, quadrupling down, these people would much rather the economy be trash and they be right than just say, you know what, I was wrong and enjoy a prosperous economy. Can you imagine if we all work together on that in that regard? Instead of coming up with reasons why federal employees should still stay at home, say, hey, man, this is a great way to get people back out working because once people are going to work working, that is going to throw lots of new things back into the economy. There are little delis and little bookstores and ride shares that have been dry cleaners, coffee shops, all those places have been suffering because people have been working from home. Well, now you're saying everybody get yourselves back to work. Well, they're going to go back to work and all those things they're going to trickle in. Instead of that, they're going to sit there and fight you about why they can't go back to work. I got a inflamed hair follicle on my left toenail, so therefore I can't go back to work. That's what they'd rather do. So it's sad to watch, but we're going to do a special show all about that, Amethyst Angel. So thank you so much for the support. Can y'all, since Amethyst Angel is the stream sponsor, can y'all just throw angel in the chat? I think there's an angel emoji. Throw an angel emoji up in there because I got something I think that will be an encouragement to y'all coming up next.
Mississippi Valley State University.
I do. I should have cut it. I don't want to ruin it. Y'all put angel in the chat. Thank you so much, Shar. Good to see you, friend. Yeah, there's that emoji. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. All right. As y'all are throwing angel in the chat, y'all know that I'm an alumni of Morehouse College. I support historically Black colleges and universities. I think they have a great place in our society as a whole, as Americans, benefit from every American, whether you're light skin, medium color skin, you're translucent. It doesn't matter. I think all of us benefit from historically Black colleges and universities. And more that they thrive, the more that everybody thrives. Catch me outside if you have a problem with that or you want to email management, you disagree, dearwokec@gmail.com. So I, as an alumni at Morehouse College, was very proud, very excited to hear that Mississippi Valley State, a historically Black college in Aberdeen, Mississippi, was invited to perform at the presidential parade in Washington, D.C. I think it was super great. It's a great come up for this small school. I knew nothing about it until they were invited. I did a lot of research on them and such like that. I did donate to them and so on and so forth. And of course, the melanated Marxists, the colored communists, the Black boule, they were all in their feelings that this historically Black college accepted an invitation to come and be in the presidential parade on yesterday. And, you know, how dare they go? They're going on MLK Day, blah, 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 blah. Kick rocks. I don't like the way this looks. Take this off. And they just sounded ridiculous. They just sounded bitter, angry, and ridiculous. I did a video. If the mods could drop the link in the chat, I did a whole video on this topic, and we went and bum rushed the GoFundMe. We gave some money. Some people in the chat gave money to them, and they hit their goal. They hit their goal. Let me tell the truth. They crushed their goal to get from Mississippi to Washington, D.C. And we're going to watch this, and I want to celebrate. Was it the Mean Green Marching Machine of Mississippi Valley State? Because not only, when I told you, I said, those children better go and do a great job. Those babies better go and crush it. Let me tell you, they heard what Uncle Dearwood Christian told them. They came out there and they did a fantastic job. So what I want to do is I want to just give them a little bit of shine. I'm going to take the time to give them the shine. Shout out to President Trump and his team for inviting them, because many people don't recognize the colleges and universities that come. And these are children. These are children. I have a 17-year-old, and these ones are just 2-3 years older than my kids. So my baby. So it was great to watch. It was fun to see them do that. And it was even better. It was so refreshing to hear the weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth from the melanated Marxists who can't do nothing about it, who can't do anything about it. Do they go against a historically, do they as Black people go against a Black school? Do they do that? Do they get in their feelings because Trump didn't buy a ticket for the Mississippi Valley State to come, but he didn't buy a ticket for any other school to come either? Like, because people don't think about that. Yeah, he invited you, but he's not obligated to pay for you to come. He didn't pay for any of the white schools to come or any of the other organizations that come. So why was their GoFundMe a bad thing? See, that's where the melanated Marxists, they would rather languish and die in their victimhood than just let go of the victimhood. Just like I took the hat off my head. Take the victimhood off and go do something great. So we're going to watch something great today. Shout out to the Mean Green Marching Machine of Mississippi Valley State. I'm not even, you know what? I might fool around and buy me a Mississippi Valley State hat just because the melanated Marxists don't want me to celebrate them. I don't even care. And their color is green, so you know your boy is kind of feeling them, right? So let's go ahead. Let's celebrate the Mean Green Marching Machine of Mississippi Valley State. I thought this was great. Here it comes.
The Mississippi Valley State University Band. They're traveling all the way from Itabena, Mississippi. Look at this, gang. This is the Mean Green Marching Machine. They are proud to represent historically Black colleges and universities at the 60th presidential inauguration. we're counting close to 300 from the Mississippi Valley State University Band. You know, since its founding, the band has consistently played a significant role at their university and across the United States. They have performed for athletic events, Mardi Gras parades, Rose Bowl parades, and many, many more. The Mississippi Valley State University Band takes great pride in presenting culturally diverse presentations for students, faculty, and the surrounding Mississippi communities. Take a look at that brass out there. Woo! That's just part of the big green marching machine.
The mean green marching machine.
Green marching machine from
Yeah.
Edabina, Mississippi, ladies and gentlemen.
Shout out to the mean green marching machine of Mississippi Valley State from Edabina, Mississippi. Salute. What I'm about to say right here is going to hurt a lot of melanated Marxists and colored communists and the black boulets feelings. So clip it, share it with them. Tell them Dear World Christian is going for their neck. Y'all people would rather, because the argument was this black college, historically black college, is going to go perform before the white racists and white supremacists at inauguration. So you would rather people not be exposed to the school, not know anything about the mean green marching machine, and stay, dare I say, ignorant to what HBCUs can offer, because you think that everybody there is a white supremacist and a white racist. So you would rather them not learn anything. Let's just, you know what? Hey, let's just pretend. Let's just pretend. Hey, dummies, let's pretend. Let's pretend that they really were. Everybody there was a white racist, right? They just hate black people, right? Oh, I hate black people. But then they got a chance to see, Like, man, this is what these schools produce. This is what this is like. This is kind of cool. Wait, this is what their half times are like? Because this is what our halftime football games are like. And they say, man, you know what? I want to learn more about this school. I would like to maybe, can I maybe come and check it out? See, you're now exposing them to something that they did not know about before. And let's not pretend these black kids got exposed to stuff that they had never been exposed to either. So you would rather, it is much better in your warped, twisted, Marxist, communist, black boulet's mind to not integrate, mix, and introduce people to new things that they didn't know about. Maybe their white prejudice was because they didn't know much. Maybe their black prejudice is because they hadn't really gone anywhere. But now they got exposed to Washington, D.C. They met people that were cheering and celebrating that didn't look like them. These are white people. You saw Trump up there all out of beat. And you're like, man, the president of the United States is cheering with me. So that might have changed them. But then watch this: the white supremacist said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Trump is out there celebrating. He's doing the little dance. Okay, maybe I could get down with that too." So see, this is why this was so important for them to come and perform in the inauguration parade. And actually, I kind of was sad that they weren't outside, but now I actually think it's better because more people got to watch them in 4K right there. They couldn't go anywhere. You're stuck right there watching them. And they did a great job. They did a fantastic job. Shout out to the Mean Green Marching Machine. Shout out to them. And shout out to those people that celebrated and encourage, and dare I say those people that donated to their GoFundMe to allow that group, that band to get there to do that because they did a great job. Shout out to Mississippi Valley State. Shout out to their president and board and everyone that greenlighted them coming to DC and everyone they threw support behind them, whether they prayed for them, drove for them, of course, gave money. Shout out to them. And shout out to the black boule and the colored communists and the melanated Marxists that are going to be in their feelings about what I just said. I don't care. Email management. Email management if you have a problem about what I said, because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm all about supporting Mississippi Valley State. I'm looking over here. I'm trying to buy me a hat, but I couldn't find the hat that I wanted because they got some pretty cool ones. So you know what? Shout out to Mississippi Valley State. I hope and pray that you have more opportunities from here. And those young men and young women, they said the Marching 300. I hope each and every one of them gets to do something great in their lives and they can look back and say, this is the time. This was the stepping stone. This was a springboard that allowed me to do something great for my family, for my career, and make much of Christ wherever they go. So you know what, color communists, go kick rocks. We just gonna sit out here and have a great time, enjoying life, whether it be with my melanated, highly melanated, less melanated, translucent. I don't care. We are enjoying ourselves. Y'all stay over there and be miserable. Y'all stay miserable because we're not doing that over here. Clip it. Send it to the melanated Marxists. My name is Jason. DearWokeC@gmail.com. I don't care. I don't. That was great. That was amazing. Shout out to the marching Mean Green. I want to say marching 100. That's fam. Sorry. Shout out to the Mean Green Marching Machine. They did a great job. And I pray that they are able to do more of this stuff and even greater things in the future. This will just be one of the many, many things, great things that come for the Mississippi Valley Marching Band. But I also hope the very last thing is the people that are caught in the middle, the people that are, they don't know what to do. They're just trying to sit still and be quiet because they don't want the melanated Marxists to be mean to them. They don't want the black boule to cancel them. They don't want the colored communists not to invite them to the cookout. Hey, I can cook. I throw down, y'all. If you need a place, if you turn your back on the melanated Marxists, the black boule, and they take away your black card, I don't care. Look, I'll make you a counterfeit one. I got black cards all over the place. We can just make some black cards. So here we go. It don't matter. Who cares? What does a black card mean? Nothing. It means absolutely, positively, unequivocally nothing. It has no value anywhere else except in their crazy minds. So if you're one of those people that are stuck, kind of like, I don't know what to do, let go of it. Let it go. Let it go. And join the people that are enjoying, that are growing and learning and growing with one another. and having a great time. I'm not gonna be over there miserable with them people. Clip it. I'm not gonna sit there and mess with them. Y'all go kick rocks. And if you need somewhere to go, come. Hey man, dear World Christian, man, we throw down. I'm about to throw on the grill tonight. I cook out all the time. You can't kick me out the cookout. I am the cookout. And you know who else is a cookout? It's doggone Amethyst Angel. She says how quickly they forget that Trump dedicated money to HBCUs during his first administration. Selective amnesia. Too much hate. Wax in their ears. Come on, Amethyst. Thank you. Like you busy hating on the man and you hating on the children. I guarantee you, at the end of the day, they would probably turn their backs on the HBCU because HBCU dared go and perform at Trump's inauguration. I'm sure I'm gonna find something about we can't support Mississippi Valley State. Man, get out of here. Thank you, Amethyst Angel. You are the stream sponsor. I appreciate you supporting the channel in so many great ways. Debbie said, my granddaughter lives with her daddy every day. At 7 years old, she was surprised and learned that he's black. Like, it doesn't have to be a thing. Like, we can stop a lot of the shenanigans of the colored communists and the black boule by just ignoring them and just not play their game. They want to play their game. Y'all have fun over there playing with stuff at the bottom of the porta john. Y'all have fun. Knock yourself out. We're not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And just go kick rocks. I am the cookout. Look, let me tell you something. And nobody ever said that I can't. My daughters be like, Dad, this doesn't have enough seasoning. Girl, kick rocks. Because this is your third service. So stop. Just let it go. They like to act like they're like food connoisseurs or something. I don't know where that came from. That's crazy. All right, here we go. I dropped a poll question earlier, and a lot of y'all said no. Do y'all remember that trend? It might have been from 2023 or late 2023, maybe early 24, where they would ask women, would you rather be in the forest with a man or a bear? Do y'all remember that? I'm going somewhere. So I asked the poll question, do you remember that that trend? I don't know if it's a trend, a meme, whatever you want to call it. I don't know.
I think it originally got posed to women. Would you rather?
Oh, sorry about that. It's already messed it up. So let me bring in, first of all, this is Josh Johnson. He's a comedian. We love him over here at Dear World Christian. And he's going to kind of reacclimate us to this whole bear conversation. Because I want to bring it up because I think that there's first of all, I think it's an ignorant argument, but there actually is real world problematic consequences that come from this type of ideology, this gender war type of ideology. Let me bring it in real quick. Let's go.
I think it originally got posed to women. Would you rather be alone in the woods with a random bear or a random man, right? And I think people were astonished at how many women picked bear because it was a lot. I've actually seen very few videos that weren't bear. Which is shocking. It's like, I don't know, it took me aback. And a lot of dudes on the internet got very upset. They got so angry that they were like, why would you pick a bear? Why wouldn't you be, what, are you out of your mind? Are you stupid? Why wouldn't you want to be left alone with a random man, you stupid bitch?
Whoa, I didn't see that part coming.
I don't understand what I'm doing right now. I think it originally got posed to women. Would you?
So that was I didn't know he was going to use profanity. Dang, Josh, man, you messed it up. All right, so everybody's seen this. This has been hopefully you remember it with that meme. Now it was funny, I guess, in one way, but then there's another way that it was extremely problematic. And I'm going to show you why I think these type of innocuous. They don't seem like they're problematic until they actually play out in real world. Because what is that saying? What is that? Would you rather be in the forest with a random guy or a bear? And the women say the bear. Well, everybody knows a bear is an untamed carnivore that's probably going to eat you, kill you, whatever, right? Maul you. And they're saying that a man is worse than a bear, is what they're saying. I'd rather risk my chances with a bear that's going to more likely kill me than a man. That's craziness. Now, as I say that, you're like, hey, hold on, wait. That's not what they're doing. I'm going to bring a video in and I'm going to show you this is what happens when you play that out to its full logical conclusion. Okay. Give you a little feedback. Oh, sorry. Give you a little feedback. In Ohio, there was a young man and his family, a black man married to a woman. They had like 2 or 3, maybe 4 kids. He's a real estate developer. He bought a home in the community that he had been real estate developing. Continue. He shares footage from his Ring camera of being profiled by his neighbor at the home that he built in his affluent neighborhood. He built a home in his own community and his neighbor profiled him. Now, of course, we're going to see this Ring camera footage right here. The man, I don't, now a lot of people they jumped immediately to the most egregious. The woman is white, the man is black. And I believe that that's part of it for real. I do believe that. Very egregious, very egregious. However, the man is extremely light skinned. So I don't know if black, because it's very late at night, I don't know if his blackness showed up more than the fact that he's a man. And I'm going to show you when we look at the video of the woman discussing what happened from her angle, is quick to see and you're very quick to notice she has a problem with men. She would rather be in the forest with a bear than a man. Let this play it out and you'll see what I mean. She's at the man's house ringing his doorbell. He is now pulled up in his driveway.
What's going on?
Some reason the woman is out walking late at night with her kids. She has clearly like a 4-year-old and one in the stroller. So let's say he's maybe like 2. She's out walking him this late at night and she sees a black man in a truck or man in a truck, pulls up in the driveway and she runs up to the door to ask if the man lives there. The craziest story. But watch this.
Do you live here? Yeah. You do? Papa. I don't believe that.
Okay, knows what she said. I don't believe that. So apparently her understanding and her belief that somebody lives here is the arbiter of truth. Remember what she said. I don't believe that, because when she does her apology video, it somehow or another morphs into she said something else. But let us continue. But again, she would rather be with a bear. Watch this.
I don't believe that. Rory, come on. Rory, come on.
So she takes off running, leaves a stroller. Watch this.
Did someone come here?
That was my wife. Somebody chased her up here. And she had the kids.
Who chased her?
She said somebody in a silver truck.
Gray truck.
And he came around the corner and
I
was in the street. And so I come up and I just have my kids. And so I'm like gonna pretend that I'm coming home. And so I pull up and I start walking to your back gate. And he stops here and he goes, "Are you looking for someone?" And I said, "Nope." And then he sat here and I was like, "I need to get in."
Well, that's my husband. That's why he lives here. Yeah. He lives here. So he came in and he said there's a lady screaming. And I'm like, that's.
She got all worried that she
Scared the crap out of me.
How?
I'm so sorry.
How did he scare you though?
I
just seen her in the driveway, and I was like, "Are you looking for somebody?" Because I was pulling up out.
And I saw someone walking in our driveway too, and I'm like, why is someone walking in our driveway?
All right, sorry.
What? She said that someone was following her. So you were walking from there?
No, you came this way, didn't you?
No, I came down this street right here.
Yeah.
And I was riding slow because I'm looking at our Christmas lights.
Well, you just have to understand my point of view. Being by myself with 2 kids, I just saw a car coming, and so I was like, oh, it scared me, and so I just pulled up here, and I kept thinking, this could be his house. But you didn't say, this is my home. You just said, are you looking? And I was like,
I did. When you was on the porch, you asked me, did I live here? I said, yeah.
And you said, no, you don't.
And you said, I don't think you do.
it was obviously you could tell that I was really caught off guard.
Like I'm pulling in my, it's like I'm pulling in my house. Like this is not, this neighborhood is probably one of the best neighborhoods in Ohio. You don't have to worry about stuff like that.
Well, I'm very sorry. I really hope that you're not upset with me.
No, I'm upset.
Go in the house. Let's go.
You told me that I didn't. You said you didn't think I lived here.
It was the way that you were talking. I was so caught off guard. I'm so sorry.
All right. So that is the initial video. You can see clearly the woman goes up to the house. She asks the man, "Do you live here? I don't believe that you live here," and then runs around yelling help. And later on, the actual police did come, which is weird. This is super strange. The police came like after the fact, and they didn't come to investigate. They just kind of took the woman's word for it and just left it alone. I'm very surprised. I'm super surprised that woman did not. I'm sorry that the police did not investigate and make a big issue out of it. And that's frightening because actually, while we were watching this, somebody came and rang my doorbell. And Lady Dear World Christian is at home and my kids are home. And she was very upset that somebody came ringing the doorbell. But I want to bring this up. I'm wondering, of course, the low hanging fruit is black versus white. I totally get that. And I do believe there's an element of that. But we're going to bring up her apology video. And I think you'll clearly understand she would rather choose the bear. This is what happens. This is the byproduct. This is the outcropping of this gender war situation. Men are bad. Women must fear men. Women don't need men. Men are horrible, bad people. This is what happens. I really believe that she is bought into it because she has a husband. And now imagine, imagine if weapons had got brought into the scenario. This could have gone south so quick. But why? Because the woman is engaged in something she didn't need to be involved in, worrying about whether or not the man lived at the house. But I'm gonna bring in I'm gonna bring in her apology video, and y'all tell me. Wait, did I bring it in? How about I don't have it ready? All right, I'm gonna filibuster while I'm talking. All right, but y'all tell me if you feel like she is genuinely apologetic, or even more genuinely. Do you buy what she's selling? Are you buying what she's selling as relates to her apology for? Oh my gosh, where's the video? Mm-mm-mm. Always something, Jason. Always something. Gotta get that struggle streaming on. Here it is. But wait, where's the video? Here it is, right here. Sorry about that.
He
All
says,
right, got it.
"This is my house." And I said,
Okay, so remember when we watched the video, remember what she said when she rang the doorbell initially and she asked, "Do you live here?" and such of that nature. Listen to how it morphs in her apology video.
"This is my house." And I said, "I don't think that it is." And
See,
at
I don't
that
believe you.
point,
Remember
the
that.
only reason that I said that was because truly the awkward encounter of slowing up behind me, talking to us multiple times. I'm in this frantic state. It's late at night. I got my kids, my 2 babies. The lady at the door is not answering. There's no other homes that are well established. I mean, there's construction. It's a corner house. I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, I'm on the front porch. This truck literally is halfway up the driveway. And I was like, my radar was like, nope, I don't think that this is your house.
Why are you worried about it though? I'm not trying to be funny. It's an established home. They already got Christmas lights up, so they've already moved in, all that kind of stuff like that. And if I saw somebody on my doorstep while I was pulling in, I too would roll slow because I need to establish what's going on. Is this the only person there? Is there somebody coming up around my bush that's going to grab me when I open up my garage door? I'm going to move slow too. She needs to be extremely happy this didn't happen in Georgia. Because somebody would be in jail and somebody would be pushing up daisies. I'm sorry. Because this wouldn't have happened in Georgia. I'm just going to be honest with you. Not and everybody went home and slept that night. That's in their own house. That wouldn't have happened. Something would have happened. I'm just sorry. This is craziness. But my point is, did she immediately think that this man was a threat because he was a man? Because again, he's a light-skinned man, so you wouldn't immediately think that he was black right from the rip because it's late at night. Okay, he's a lighter-skinned man, but you saw him and immediately jumped to what? He's a man. He's a problem. Just a thought. Let's go.
And so I said, I don't believe that this is your house. And so I'm starting to unbuckle Cash, and I grab and I freak. I go, Rory, run. And so I take off the porch and I literally run as fast as I can, screaming at the top of my lung. I'm getting all these messages. I'm so sorry. Screaming at the top of my lung. I've never, ever, ever screamed the way that I screamed. And I'm running through the front yards of everybody, praying that the Ring doorbell would capture us. Finally, to get to a woman's house, I'm bang on the door. And at this point, I'm dialing 911. And I said, can I please come in? And the woman said, yes, come in. And so I'm standing there. I'm talking to the sheriff. And more than anything, I was not looking for him to come to my rescue at this point. My husband was going to come. I'm in this woman's house. The door is closed. And I tell the man, he said, do I need to come out? And I just said, no. I said, I was just calling to let you know that this just happened. My husband's going to come get me. And, he says, he asked me if I wanted him to come out. And I said, no. And so the woman then I was at her house. She literally asked me and said,
That's got to be the most Ohio thing to happen. I'm sorry, Ohioans. I don't mean to insult y'all, but I can't imagine calling 911 and telling and screaming and being all exacerbated. Your kids are probably crying and all that kind of stuff. You're in somebody else's house and you're like, oh yeah, you don't have to worry about the police. I just wanted you to know that today was Tuesday. What? They're coming. They're coming. I cannot imagine. I'm sorry. And I'm not of the cancel culture brand, but this woman deserves all the smoke that she got. Her business got eviscerated, all that kind of stuff. She deserves it. There's no way. I'm sorry. Ohioans, if your police and sheriff, if you can call 911 and they don't come out, y'all better watch what y'all paying y'all taxes for. I'm sorry. Let's go.
she said, I don't know how to ask this. She goes, but was it a black man? Because she goes, it's a black family that lives there. And I said, no, I believe that this is a white man. He was a white man in a truck. A young white man is what I said. And she said, okay. She goes, because that's a black.
So that's why I'm saying I don't think that it was originally a black issue. The guy is definitely light skinned. So I don't think it was black. It's the fact that he's a man. This is the bear versus the man scenario. She thinks a man, just because he's a man, is a problem. Just because he's alive. Just because he breathes. There's no other reason for her to behave of that nature except the fact that it's a dude. Let's finish up. I rewound it.
And so we get in the car and we go to pick up the stroller. Sure, it wasn't a black guy. He goes, because that's a black family. And I said, no, I don't believe that it was a black man. And so we get in the car and we go to pick up the stroller. And I've said this a million times, I have never felt the fear that I had even just pulling up in front of the house when John opened the door to get out of the truck, the amount of, I've never went into like fight or flight like that before. And so he gets out of the car and he, goes up to the woman's house, and a woman comes out onto the front porch, and she says something along the lines like, did you forget something or did you leave something? And John laughs and he's like, yes, we did. I'm so sorry. And I get out of the car and I walk up to the woman, and I could not tell her fast enough what had happened. She walks out on the porch, and I jump out of the car and I said, I said, oh my gosh, yes, there was a man. And John was the one that said a man was following her, chasing her, following her is what I said. I used the word chasing, following me. And, so she said, I jumped out of the car and I said, I'm so sorry. I said, literally, I was pretending that your house was my house. I was walking up the driveway, and then I was like turning in. I was pretending that it was yours. And she goes, yeah, that was my husband. And so he ends up coming out and he's like, I told you this was my house. And at that point, I literally started, I said, I'm so sorry. I said, I am so sorry. And I told him, I said, sorry. I said, I'm so sorry. And then, I said, this is your house. That was my words. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, this is your house. I said, I truly kept thinking like, maybe this is his house. Maybe this is his house. And he says, well, I told you this was your house. And I said, you have to understand. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, it was such an awkward encounter.
Why do you care? Why is it muted? Oh, okay. Why do you care if it's his house? I'm not trying to be funny. You are out walking with your kids late at night. It was really late at night too. I don't know, but that's beside the point. Why do you care that if it's his house or not? Is it possible that you don't know that it's his house or not? This is wild. And it's Christmas time, so people, still drive around looking at Christmas lights. Why is that? This woman deserves, and she's gonna try to play the victim. She's the victim, as you can see. She's a victim of circumstance. You're a victim because you were driving too slow. She's a victim because you're a man. You're a victim because you're in a truck. Blah blah blah. I'm sorry. And shame on y'all, Ohio. Y'all, this woman needs to be. She needs a consequence for this. This is crazy because if there had been weapons involved, there would be people that are not alive because of her doing too much. There's no reason to be worrying about somebody's. Do you live here or not? Why are you even asking that question, ma'am?
I said the truck was like starting to slow behind me, and I'm out here with my little girl and my son, and I said I'm a mom, and it was dark, and he said, but I told you that this was my house. He says I was driving slow because I was looking at my Christmas lights. And once again I said I am so sorry, and they truly they did not take my apology.
And rightly so. I'm sorry.
And that night, I went home. And so if you guys saw on Instagram, I shared the story twice. The only reason that I shared the story is because I was heartbroken, and it was
No, the reason you shared the story twice, sorry. The reason you shared the story twice is you needed to get out ahead of this because you knew that they were going to show that Ring camera and put it out there in the social media streets. And you're trying to be like, hey, let me be the first one to tell the story. The problem is people like to do their research. So once they saw what actually happened, you got all the smoke and you deserved it. This is egregious. She's putting somebody's life potentially in danger because of this. And you'll see in a second, I'm not making that up. She's putting people's lives in danger. Here we go.
really scary night. I've always shared everything on Instagram. And so that night after that whole instance happened, I literally was sitting on the steps, first of all, and John kept trying to talk to me. I kept telling him I was so sorry. And I've never, just the panic. I literally could not come down from this fight or flight. From the time that I was at the woman's house to literally 30 seconds later, telling the woman that I was just followed to the man stepping out on the front porch and it being his house. It was all of these different emotions. And so I'm sitting at home, literally having this meltdown. And I kept telling John, I was so sorry. I felt really stupid. And, so on the way home, I forgot to say that the cop was driving around our neighborhood, and, I'm getting all these messages. I'm so sorry. the cop was driving around our neighborhood, and I stopped him. We stopped him, and I jumped over, rolled the window down, and I said, I am so sorry. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, it was his house. It was a misunderstanding. I'm so sorry. He was like, it's okay. I'm glad everything's fine. I was like, yes, it's fine. So I ended up, we went home. And that night when I got home, I had tears, and I was making.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The police just took the word over. She's the woman that called you hysterical, running through the streets, yelling, help, 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 help with her kids. And she said, oh, no, my bad. Everything, it was a false alarm. And the police didn't do anything? Yeah, maybe y'all don't got any crime in Ohio. Maybe that's it. Or maybe y'all got too much crime and you don't got time to look at. That's craziness. I'm sorry. Watch. It actually gets worse. Here it comes.
Making a cup of coffee, and if you guys know me, I put everything on Instagram. I talk all the time. It was an innocent mistake. I felt
No, it
really
wasn't.
stupid. I absolutely was crushed I felt like they thought I was stupid. I already felt stupid. I truly felt stupid.
This is a deflection tactic. She's calling herself something. It's calling that people think you're stupid. That's a harsh word like that. No, I think you're evil and vile and that you had nefarious purposes. But calling somebody stupid is kind of like that's what you would call somebody who's ill informed or whatnot. No, she had evil intentions. I'm going to say it. Jason, dearwokec@gmail.com. She had evil intentions by going up to these people's houses, this house, saying that you don't really live here. You don't belong here. That's crazy work. That's nasty work.
Like I said to them on the porch, like I kept thinking like maybe this is his house. And then like I'm running and screaming at the top of my lungs. And so, yeah, like I felt dumb for sure. So I went on Instagram in my story. I still have it archived, and I like have tears, and I'm making a cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I was like, man, you like talk about a night. I'm like, man, my night just completely took a left turn. And I was like, super scary. I was like, I'll have to fill you guys in later. So I went live that night. And then I went live again the next morning. And I have to tell you guys, I have been on social media long enough to know that there's a lot of scrutiny. And so by me going live, I did not think that I was doing anything wrong. I was sharing the story of what happened, better safe than sorry, how scary it was.
You rolled up on somebody's house that you don't live. And let me also add, apparently is not close to your house because she didn't run to her house. She ran to somebody else's house. So you're in the neighborhood. Like my neighborhood is not that big, but there's parts of my neighborhood I haven't been on in months, right? I don't go over there. I have no business over there. So if I went over there on one side and a house had been painted, I would be totally surprised. Like, oh, there you go. I haven't been over it, so I wouldn't be surprised that a house was painted. How is it that you just know? Again, so you are the arbiter of what's are you the HOA president or something? Or like, how do you think you even are in a position? How dare I go to my neighbor's house and say, "Hey, I don't like the color of the house that you painted." Like that would be akin to that. Like I don't believe that you should have painted it this color. They're gonna be like, "Who are you?" Like, what in the world? Oh, I'm gonna do it at nighttime, right? This has got to be the high watermark of insanity. But we actually are gonna get better. Let's let her go, Jason.
It's just what I went through. Like, that's the only reason that I went live. At the end, I talked about how I felt stupid and how this couple, like twice I apologized and nothing came of it. And so, yeah, that crushed me. I did feel really stupid. So that is the story.
They're not obligated. I'm sorry.
Many of you guys were on those lives, and so you guys know the exact emotions and state that I was in. So we are here. And it wasn't until about 2 weeks ago, maybe a little less than that, that John was sitting in the living room, and he called me the day prior, and he asked me a question about, did you ever say, like, he said, did you tell the woman that he was black? And I said, no, I told her that I thought he was a young white man. He's like, I thought so. And I was like, that was really weird that he called and asked me that. So the next morning, I was doing my morning reading, and he sits down in front of me, and he's like, we have to talk. And so he told me that there had been a letter floating around our neighborhood that had been posted in our mailroom that had said something about a racist profiling in the neighborhood. And so, of course...
Okay, let me real quick. Let me just make sure I got this right. Now she's going to claim she's a victim. Now, she could have absolved herself of any of this. I don't think that it was primarily the first step was about race, but that's fine. I think it's because he's a man and she sees men as problematic, but I digress. Watch what happens and then all of a sudden how she again switches and she becomes the victim. Watch this.
You throw racism into the mix, it gets really yucky. And that was the furthest thing from what it was, to the point of literally, we have a handwritten letter from the woman's house that I went to. I'm trying to get the Ring doorbell footage of me standing on the porch telling John when he asked, are you sure it wasn't a black man? And I said, I think it is a young white man. But she wrote a letter. She was like, I'm happy to speak on your behalf. You absolutely told me that you thought it was a white man. And so we had 2 days in a row, the letter was posted in the mailroom saying that there was a racist profiling, not mentioning our name, but it was in reference to that night. It was taken down 2 times. And then I believe there was an email sent to our followed 20 minutes home, and my car was broken into when I was at the store. And when I was a little girl, we had a man banging on our door and helicopters hovering over our home. So did I overreact?
The reason she overreacted is because as a child, her family was violated to some degree, shape, or form. So this woman is probably knocking on 35, 38 years old. And she's talking about a story when she was a child. And that's why, let's say when she was 10. So when she was 10, that's why she's acting like she's behaving now. She's gonna blame this is just trauma dumping of the highest order. Let me get out every excuse I can out of this in here as possible. I'm sorry. She gets nothing from me.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. But I showed up at the door and I said that I was sorry 2 times.
Do you realize that if the police had come and the man had a weapon and something went south, your apologies saying you're sorry wouldn't brought anybody back? Do you realize that that man had, again, here in Georgia, we got to stand your ground. So you would be in the ground here in Georgia. There's a high probability somebody would not have gone home that night because of your actions, Michelle. Do you realize that? So it wouldn't matter that you're apologetic. Oh, I'm sorry, crying and boo-hoo-hoo and all that kind of stuff like that. Somebody would be in eternity because of what you did. Maybe one of your children, maybe you, maybe that man, maybe all of y'all, Hatfields and McCoys, everybody would have went to sleep because of, so your tears mean nothing. This is so gross. And again, the tears are trying to get that sympathy, get those sympathy, feel sorry for me. But ma'am, you shouldn't have been on that man's porch. End of day, that's it. There's no other way around it. There's no reason for you to have been on that porch asking somebody, do they live here? No reason.
People are going as far as saying they're not genuine apologies, that I'm out to get them for whatever reason that is. I don't know how it could be twisted that way when I literally thought he was a white man. So I knew it wasn't going to stop there, but the Facebook page stuff was deleted. Not me ever asking for any of it to be deleted. I made a public apology to them through the video to a whole Facebook page of almost 500 residents in our neighborhood. And then I posted in the comments multiple times when people were just saying, like, disgusting and just tearing down our family's name. I once again came on and I said, if there's ever an opportunity to reconcile, like, I will. I'm so sorry I could have ever offended you.
But again, I like the idea of reconciliation. I'm all about reconciliation. But ma'am, you put these people's lives in jeopardy. Somebody asked me earlier, do I want to talk about the Ahmad Aubry case? And that's a very much akin, like nosy people doing nosy stuff. Now there's somebody dead. That's it. End of the day, finish it up. And you being nosy, worrying about something that don't bother you. Now, if you saw somebody out there with a U-Haul truck carrying TVs and stuff out with masks on, maybe you should call the police. But you going up there and asking somebody if this is their house ain't got nothing to do with you. Nothing. I'm sorry. And this is so gross. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you don't understand the weight and the gravity of what you've done. You're not going to be able to bring your family back up to where you were before you went up to that man's door and rang that doorbell. You're never going to be able to do that. So accept where you are. You might need to move. I'm sorry. This is so dumb. Okay, finish this up, Jason.
And so I've absolutely apologized multiple times. It's not been accepted. So now I woke up today and John starts sending me screenshots of people going on all of my social media channels. And I had to make my pages private. On one of the videos of us talking about opening our store, there were over 360 comments, some of which absolutely were from our members, but I would say over 300 of them within a 10-minute span were from people coming to absolutely attack us, saying anything and everything you can imagine, from hating on my faith, tying that to racism and me not being who I say I am, to my family, to be on a lookout, to our business is destroyed, to you can imagine everything that's being said, to our direct messages, to my friends and members being messaged saying that I'm a racist, going as far as saying that I was trying to have a black man killed. That was commented a few times.
Ma'am, you did. You did. I'm sorry. You might not have set out to do it, but it is very much time, baby. You need to get off social. You need to go ahead and just start a farm and sell chickens. I'm sorry. Ma'am, I'm sorry. There's no other way around it. I don't think primarily she set out it for it to be a racial issue, but I'll let y'all have that. Y'all know Dear Woke Christian don't run with racism very much, but I'm gonna let y'all have that one. I think it's more akin to the fact that you saw a man as a problem. You saw there's a dude right there and he's a problem. You said, I'd rather choose the bear. Well, baby, you ran for the bear. Here is the bear. This is what you ran to. You ran to the bear, and now that this is what the bear gives you. That's what you get.
To people texting me personally, calling me a racist pig, our direct messages, our other businesses, Crave is being attacked, and every business platform, my Facebook ratings, everything is being attacked right now. So, everybody keeps asking for a public apology, and I wanted to get ahead of it. I don't want to just stay quiet, but I did shut my pages to private. I've explained to my Instagram exactly what I'm explaining to y'all. I absolutely am so sorry that I didn't think more of how they possibly could have felt in the moment and my reaction.
Tears don't fix bad decisions. You know what, let's move this into a different realm. Let's say that she was out celebrating whatever, and she had a couple too many drinks, and she got in the car with the same two children, drove down the same road, but she was inebriated, and she slammed into this man, the homeowner, in his truck while he was driving slow, looking at his Christmas lights, and she slammed right into her. Ma'am, it doesn't matter how sorry you are. It doesn't matter how apologetic you are. It doesn't change one thing. One, you are a drunk driver. You will always have that moniker around you. And you murdered that man with your vehicle, vehicular homicide, while driving under the influence. And It doesn't matter if you're apologetic. It doesn't matter if you were trying to celebrate. It doesn't matter if you had your child in the 5-point harness in their car seat. None of those things matter. That man is no longer here. The only thing really that changes is that nobody perished. That's really the only thing that changes. It doesn't change. Like, sorry, if people see your approach to this as being partial or racial, I'm not going to even defend you. And y'all know I don't even rock with the racism around every corner, but this is so egregious that that's exactly what happens. And ma'am, you need to just you chose the bear instead of the man. Because you could have just said, oh, there's a man right there, leave him alone, and kept on walking, and everything would have been fine. But you said, oh no, there's a man over there. Let me go choose the bear. And you chose the bear. And Becky, enjoy.
I'm not trying to play the victim.
But I am.
Very few people have truly said they can't, putting themselves in my shoes, and it does make me angry. It does, if I'm being completely honest, and I'm trying to be so slow to speak. And I have said multiple times.
How were you slow to speak when you jumped on 2 times Instagram Live the same night? And it was already 10 o'clock. Oh my gosh, the little reactions 2 times that night. How are you being slow to speak? I'd love to know how that works. I rewound it again. Y'all, come on.
To be deleted. I made a public apology to them through
I'ma
the
stop.
video to a whole Facebook page of almost 500 residents in our neighborhood. And then I posted in the comments multiple times when people were just saying, like, disgusting and just tearing down our family's name. I once again came on and I said, if there's ever an opportunity to reconcile, like, I will. I'm so sorry I could have ever offended you. And so I've absolutely apologized multiple times. It's not been accepted. So now I woke up today and John starts sending me screenshots of people going on all of my social media channels.
They're cooking you.
And
Look, people don't play. Okay. One thing I noticed, and I'm kind of glad I rewound it. Sorry I rewound it, but I'm glad I did. She said, I would love to reconcile if I offended you. And I think it's fair to say that you offended them, Becky. Why are you not being upfront saying, yo, I did wrong and I did offend you. I did do the wrong thing. Not if I did the wrong thing, if I offended you. No, I did do the wrong thing. Eat that crow, cook it, barbecue it, fricassee, make it sushi. I don't know. But eat that crow and say, I was wrong. I did the wrong thing. Now, you might want to still defend and say it wasn't racial. That's fine. I don't think you should. You can just say, hey, I was wrong. And again, if you see the pictures of the guy, you wouldn't immediately say if it was late at night, you would see him as a black man. I'm sorry. So I'm trying to give her a little bit of grace there because I think the problem is she saw a man as a problem and she chose the bear. And now the bear is chewing on her, is nibbling on her, and she don't like that part. Well, baby, this is what you chose. You chose the bear and enjoy the bear. You know what? I'm going to take a quick second because I want to bring Tanya up to speed. Tanya, great to see you. Thank you so much for stopping by. We are looking at a young man and a young family in Ohio where this woman right here late at night was walking in the community and saw the man pulling into the driveway and went to the door to say that to check to see if the man actually lived there. And the man said he lived there. She said she didn't believe it. And then she proceeds to go running through the neighborhood screaming, bloody murder, help, 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 and so forth like that. And at the end of the day, thankfully, nobody was deceased. The police came like later, but needless to say, she made all this stir and fuss. And the man was highly melanated. He was a black man. And she, of course, is a white woman. And she is catching all the smoke that you can imagine she's catching. And we're just watching her apology because I think it's, in my opinion, is not because he's black, it's because he's a man. And she sees a man as a problem. Because I don't think she would have cared if it was a woman. I really don't believe if it was a woman driving that truck, she would have even batted an eye. Late at night, early in the morning, midday, it don't matter. If she saw a woman driving the truck, she'd be like, whatever, and kept it going. Why did she have a problem? Is because it was a man driving that truck. She didn't immediately know it was a black man. She immediately knew it was a man, and therein is the problem. That's my 2 cents.
I had to make my pages private on one of the videos of us talking about opening our store. There were over 360 comments, some of which absolutely were from our members, but I would say over 300 of them within a 10-minute span were from people coming to absolutely attack us, saying anything and everything you can imagine, from hating on my faith, tying that to racism and me not being who I say I am, to my family, to be on a lookout, to our business is destroyed, to you can imagine everything that's being said, to our direct messages, to my friends and members being messaged saying that I'm a racist, going as far as saying that I was trying to have a black man killed. That was commented a few times. To people texting me personally, calling me a racist pig. Our direct messages, our other businesses, Crave is being attacked, and every business platform, my Facebook ratings, everything is being attacked right now.
It's almost like there's consequences.
So, everybody keeps asking for a public apology, and I wanted to get ahead of it. I don't want to just stay quiet, but I did shut my pages to private. I've explained to my Instagram exactly what I'm explaining to y'all. I absolutely am so sorry that I didn't think more of how they possibly could have felt in the moment and my reaction. I'm not trying to play the victim.
But I am.
Very few people have truly said they can't, putting themselves in my shoes, and it does make me angry. It does, if I'm being completely honest, and I'm trying to be so slow to speak.
But you're talking.
And I have said multiple times how stupid I felt. I even looked at him, like I said, when he came out on the porch. And I said, oh my gosh, this was your house. And I said, I kept thinking to myself, what if this is his house? But pulling up behind me, whether it's to look at your Christmas lights or not, I didn't know that.
It's because he's a man. She chose the bear. And baby, the bear is eating you up. You chose the bear. Enjoy what you got there. The bear is eating you up. She probably has a business Facebook page, and the business Facebook page is getting crushed. That's probably what's the problem.
I knew it was dark. I had my kids.
You're
talking to me. You're continuing to talk to me. Now you're backing in this driveway. And then I asked if it was his house. And he said, yeah. I didn't believe it at that point. This was getting so awkward. I just continued to feel like I was getting pursued more and more.
You do know you could have turned and walked away, right? You didn't have to keep going. If you're walking toward the house and the guy pulls into that house, you could just turn about face and walk the other way. And then you would know if the guy got back out or the guy kept following you, then you would know, like, oh, this guy is really following me. But you're walking toward the house, the guy pulls into the driveway of the house, and then you run your happy butt up to the doorbell and ring the ring cam to be what? Queen, do too much? Ma'am, enjoy what you get. There's no sympathy here at DWC. I'll give you the gospel though. You do need Christ because you be doing too much. You're doing the most. You need to be mindful of your own business. And why you out walking with your kids after 9 o'clock at night anyway? It was dark. Get your happy butt at home. But even better than that, how about you leave other people alone? Like, this is gross. You should not be bothering other people. Leave other folk alone.
It had nothing to do with the color of his skin. He could have been purple, orange, whatever. He was a man in a truck pursuing me.
I told you it wouldn't have been. It's a man. Okay, I gotta
The
say it
tone of his
again.
voice was
I gotta say it again. Like, it's the fact that he's a dude, and this is the outcropping. I'm not. This is the outcropping of that rhetoric of, the gender war. Man, big screen, big screen. That men versus woman, woman versus man. We don't need no man, and all. This is the rhetoric. This is the outcropping. Ideas have consequences. And thankfully, again, nobody passed away. But I think we all realize, like, this could have gone left if this had been anywhere else. This been a suburb of Chicago, a suburb of New York. Let's be honest. If it's been in my neighborhood, there would have been somebody would have got capped. I'm just telling you. But this is what happens. Mind your own business. Why are you even bothering with this man? So what? He's driving slow. I've driven slow looking at my Christmas lights. I drive slow. Look, my neighbors, look, if this is the case, then we know we're gonna get a problem because I drive up and down my neighborhood. I'll go backwards to see something on one side of my house because I don't come on that side of the house often. And I've been looking and I drive slow. I know good and well Barbara would pull out her nine and put me to sleep following this woman's logic. I do it all the time. Ma'am, mind your own business. But guess what? This is it. You chose the bear, and this is what you get. Enjoy the bear.
not welcoming or comforting at all. And so, yes, I panicked. Did I overreact? I don't think so.
You don't think it was wrong. Hold on, hold up. You don't think it was weird to be running through the neighborhood yelling help. Hold on, wait. I I've watched this, but as I watch it with y'all, things kind of hit me differently. So it's perfectly normal for a whole grown woman, 35, 38 years old, to be running with a 2-year-old with a 4-year-old in tow, yelling help at 10 o'clock at night in your neighborhood. I don't know what neighborhood you live in. I don't even think the hood is like that. Ma'am, go find a seat. Like, I don't think that as sure as my name is Jason, I don't think we would be having this conversation if instead of it being a man, his name was Michael, if it had been his wife, Shauna. I don't think we would be having this conversation. The problem is it's a guy, it's a man, and that's not normal behavior. I'm sorry. I live in a house with 3 women. There's a lot of abnormal behavior that goes on in my house. That is not one of them. Okay. Even they would be like, what the heck is wrong with you? You're running through the neighborhood yelling, yo, I'm sorry. And shout out to y'all Ohioans because y'all police don't do nothing. Okay. I'm going to stop.
So, I'll leave this here
She should
for
go to
you
jail.
all to decide what you believe.
Ooh, those tears.
I don't know if the owners will watch this or the people who have decided to come alongside them. I don't think I'm in a position of trying to win hearts anymore. I've made many apologies and they weren't accepted. So I don't think it's about an apology anymore. But I just wanted you all to know that I am a lover of everyone. I really am.
Except
And once again,
men. You love the bear.
I'm sorry for anything that I could have done to not hold your heart.
You love the bear.
What a terrible situation and terrible timing. Like, that's what it all boils down to. Really terrible timing. And now it's just getting really, really ugly. So, I just wanted to make sure that this was put out there publicly.
That I love the bear.
You're being very sweet. Thanks.
Sweet, sweet bear love. That's what it is. We love the bear.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
I just sit here and I'm like, man, is there like anything that I could say just to like make people drop it? I just don't think there is. I just think it's just gonna hang there for a minute.
So, like, just real quick though, if the man had expired, Yeah, bear love, bear love. If the man had expired, and let's say the same thing happens, like I'm sure every last one of us could say, man, if this happened in this side of town or this happened over in this town, it would be a different situation. If this had happened and that man expired because you or went to jail, you know what? We won't even delete him. Let's just say the man went to jail because of this false claim by you. How should people just let it go? Like the idea and the notion that this could have gone left, I don't think is hyperbole. It's not like you're doing a lap too far. Like the climate control people. Oh, if we don't stop, the earth will end in 10 minutes. Like that's just stupid. Shut up. But here, this could really truly have been the case. If the Ohioan police did differently, that man could have probably been to jail. I mean, who knows? What if he had? I mean, there could have been 1,000 things that could have gone wrong, and your ignorant claim could have been the reason, the fulcrum for it. And they're supposed to just get over it. I'm sorry. I don't think. Ma'am, you chose the bear. This segment is called "You Chose the Bear." And you saw a man, he was a problem. You ran to the bear, and now you're upset that the bear is munching down on you. He done mauled you, he mawing on you. And ma'am, you chose the bear. I can't do anything for you. You had an option, which was mind your own doggone business in the most polite Southern way possible. Bless your heart, you should have mind your business.
Thank you for giving your time to this, everybody. It's not y'all's issue at all. So,
But you know what? It wasn't your issue either. Becky, it wasn't your issue. I'm sorry. I'm watching this with y'all, and y'all, when I see your names, it makes me think differently. It wasn't your issue. It wasn't. It's not your issue. Now, if you thought it was a real crime being going on, then you call the police. Well, I don't know. In Ohio, they don't seem to be doing nothing. But if you thought it was a real crime and something was really wrong, then you call the police. In a normal situation, why are you Crime Stoppers with your 2 kids? Aren't you a little bit worried? Don't you have something else to do? Aren't you a little bit concerned about the little ones around you? How about you take care of them instead of worrying about whether or not this house is owned by this man or whatever? Worry about yourself. You got your 2 kids. But nope. And so now I'm sorry, I can't find any sympathy here. You did too much.
I love you. If you guys start messaging me and stuff, the reason I'm not responding is we're supposed to be celebrating John's birthday today. So I'm going to try really hard to stay away from all of this and be present with the kids because
But you're on the social
my
now.
mind has been super tied up.
But you're on the social now.
Okay. That's all. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, you're
And
welcome.
all the things. So I want to jump on here because my Facebook is public. And for those of you guys who are telling me that I owe a public apology, one, I will not apologize for making any sort of racist remark. I am the furthest thing from a racist. I will, however, apologize that my expression could ever come across in such a way, or that somebody could think something of that nature of myself and my family. So, long story short, I need to give the context because there's a lot of y'all who are, I'm sure, coming to my page right now.
Okay, that was the end of it. And it was a giant nothing burger. But my point in bringing this up was just to kind of say that, this rhetoric that we've embraced for the last couple of years, that there's this animosity between, and it's not germane, it's not everywhere, but you see it in certain little pockets that, this animosity between men and women is super problematic. And again, I thought about that bear versus, would you rather be with a random guy in the woods or a bear? And people Women saying, I choose the bear. Well, ma'am, this lady chose the bear. And look at what happened. She chose the bear, and the bear is bearing. 1 second, please. I apologize, y'all. President Firstborn called me, and she's out in these streets, these snow day streets of Georgia. So I want to make sure everything was right. So thank you so much. But back to the point, and I'll get off of this. But the woman chose the bear, and now she's upset that the bear was hungry, and the bear wanted to munch on her, and the bear was going to claw at her and maul her. Well, ma'am, you could have chosen something different. Now, there's nothing you can do now. The bear is already on. You chose the bear, and now you got to live with the bear. But maybe for other people, maybe just tell people, like, mind your own business. Leave people alone. Like, there was no reason to be bothering that man about his house. And like, I don't believe that you live here. That's problematic. That was weird. And now the bear is munching. The bear is fed. The bear is he is not in hibernation. He is chewing up on you because you was doing the most. Queen doing the most. Now, I do want to bring in a context to this as well. And I want to say thank you. Before I do that, thank you so much. Thank you so much. She asked me, Amethyst Angels blessing the team. She says, how quickly they forget that Trump dedicated money to HBCUs during his first administration, selective amnesia. Too much hate wax in their ears. Thank you for the very kind $5 super. Looks, here's Williams. It was a great exposure and a positive experience for the students. Personal feelings aside about the president, we should support our students. And she's talking about Mississippi Valley State. The Mean Green Marching Machine performed at Trump's inauguration yesterday. And I just said, hey, this is something to celebrate. This is something to make a lot of noise about. A great opportunity for those young men and women. And I'm hoping that they'll continue to do great things. What does Amethyst Angel say with the $5 super? She says, what sane woman would approach any man and question his presence? Just call the cops and report. Let them handle it. Maybe the cops have a history on her. I don't know. That's a great question. I'm just stuck on what you said. What sane woman? Because I guarantee you, Lady Dearwood Christian would never do that. Never would she do what this woman did. Why are you doing that? Thank you so much for the $10 super. Breakfast Gun says, very astute bear versus man analogy. Hey, look, when I have time to think about it, I could come up with I can cook sometimes. I could come up with some good ones. I appreciate it. But yeah, I just thought about, like, this is the problem. Like, this is the problem, is that woman saw the man as a threat, not the fact that he was a black man. It just so happened that he was a black man. But just think about it. Would she have done that if it was a white man? Maybe. I think she still would have did it. Would she have done it if it was a white woman? Never. Would she have done it if it was a black woman driving? Not even a little bit. Wouldn't have seen it. They don't see him as a threat. They see men as a threat. That's the problem. And thank you so much for that $10 super. Thank you so much. Is her hubby a he or she? I think she's married to a man. I saw the picture. It's a man. Is she partnered with anyone? Probably not. Cat lady with kids? No, she's married to a real man. He just looks like he was drug into it. He don't look like he was about that life. So it doesn't look like he was gonna come out there, with a shotgun and some tobacco in his jaw. So he just looked like, and he probably, if somebody asked the question, she's probably done this before. I'm gonna go on a limb and say she's probably one of those people. She's always upset about something. She's always sending meals back when you go out to eat. She's I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure she's probably done something akin to this before, because the reason I say that is because the husband didn't seem torqued off. If my wife had come home and told me a story that this woman told, there would be problems. There would be a problem. And I probably would crash out. I'm just gonna be honest with you. My name's Jason, dearwokec@gmail.com. I'm a work in progress. I probably would have crashed out. Okay. If my wife had been running with my daughters through a community, yelling help, and had to go to some random person's house and calling the cops, there's gonna be a problem. I'm just gonna tell you. The husband didn't do that. Why? Probably because she's done this before. She probably is like that. He probably realized that she done did this before to some degree, shape, or form. And the other reason I think that she's probably done things like this before is the way that the way she told the story of how the husband came to talk to her about stuff. He probably have said, like, hey, the way you turned it up at Target the other day, you probably should tamper it down. Like, hey, let's stop going to Whole Foods acting crazy, okay? Let's stop doing that. So I'm thinking that she's probably done this before to some degree, shape, or form, but never to this magnitude where it's come those chickens have come home to roost. She chose the bear. And now they got this big old grizzly bear sitting in their living room eating them up. And she's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was going to happen. Because every other time I've done this, it's not been a problem. Now it's a real problem. That's what I think. Wait, I like the way you said this. There's another man out to attack you again, Michelle. Let me at him. I don't think the husband was. No, she called the cops. The cops just didn't come. When the cops came, she was out with her husband and she saw the cops and flagged them down and said, "Hey, I made a mistake. It was my fault." And the cops never came to verify with the original family, the homeowners. They just took the woman's advice allegedly, and that was it. Because the articles I read didn't show that the police did anything or had any kind of engagement, as far as I could tell. So to me, it seems like that's why I'm shouting out the Ohio police, because I'm like, y'all don't do your jobs very well. This lady should have been. I'm sorry, somebody should have went down to the precinct. Somebody should have got a citation. Somebody should have got called. Yeah, she ended up running to a neighbor's house. Yeah, she ended up running to a neighbor's house, which is super. Again, ma'am, mind your own business. Just mind your own business. And if nothing else, I mean, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna give you grace. If you are out by yourself and you're just out there walking, power walking, listening to Taylor Swift, and you see somebody and you see a bear and you want to go choose the bear, that's fine. Go ahead, choose your bear. Choose the bear. Choose the bear. But ma'am, you were with your children. Imagine if that man was violent. And if you go back and watch the video, her younger child is the one that's pushing the ring cam initially. So her child is involved in. What if he meant ill and he was going to and he was a dangerous man? And you got your child up at the doorstep, locked in that little corner, and that man come up there and start banging your head on the floor. Or worse. Because you over here, queen, doing too much. Ma'am, I have no sympathy. And I'm trying to be sympathetic to you, but ma'am, you don't get any sympathy. You had no bit. You put your child in danger. You put both of your children in danger. Please forgive me. You put yourself in danger. You put that man in danger. You put the family in the house in danger. And let's say, since she's running through the neighborhood yelling like a plumb fool, what if the man was chasing her? And then she goes to another neighbor's house. And what if that man chased her into that house? Now you've put them in danger. And then if your husband, and let's say now the man wasn't chasing you, get to your husband and he comes over there and he is a macho man and the guy has a weapon. You done put your husband in danger. All because you doing too much. You chose the bear. Enjoy yourself. There's no reason. There's no reason for any of this. Right. What if a man had opened the door to the house that you were running to? See, you're just doing too much. You're just doing too much. I cannot find sympathy for this. Because again, you put people's lives, and again, I don't think it's a lap too far. I don't think it's hyperbole for people to say that you put somebody's life in danger. If nothing else, you put your kid's life in danger. Because if the man is dangerous and you done walked yourself up to the doorstep, I might pull that. Hold on. I might have to pull that back up so we can see that again. Because again, like, I don't want this to turn into a long discussion, but we'll just do what we're going to do here today. Is this it? This is it right here. Like, it's the baby that's pushing the doorbell. Your child is pushing the doorbell, and you can see that that's a corner with the house door. So what if that man had just walked up there and blocked you up there and started banging your head on the floor or did something violent to y'all? That's your fault, ma'am. That's nobody else's fault. There's no, and again, you put the babies in that predicament. Nobody else did it. That man didn't do it. The brother did not put them in that predicament. You did by walking up his walkway, going up to his doorbell, and you ring the doorbell. She's ringing the doorbell.
What's going on?
So if that man had walked up there and been like, again with nefarious purposes, you stuck like Chuck. You chose the bear. Ma'am, do not think that. I'm sorry. I hate that people are giving you that business, but I'm not mad at them. But like, this would not have gone good in other parts of. You need to be glad you in Ohio. Shout out to Ohio. At least everybody went to bed that night in their own bed. Because I promise you, if this had happened in Southwest Atlanta, somebody would not have been sleeping in their bed that night. You out here just tiptoeing through the tulips. That would not have been the case. So anyway, I'm trying to be. I don't know why this story really bothered me when I saw it. And I felt sorry because I'm like, this guy is out here minding his own business, doing well, trying to raise a family. Like, again, they got as a wife and a husband and like 4 kids, and they minding their own business. Why are you worrying about them? I don't believe that you live here. Ma'am, I don't care. I don't care. And I think this is a fantastic question, Shar. What would she have said if the Ring cameras had not recorded this? These Ring cameras, man, look, they might be spying on you, but they don't be lying on you either. Look, I'm just holding out because my neighbors across the street got them. So, but yeah, like, what would have happened if you didn't have that camera footage? And I don't know, but she said she did an Instagram live, 2 Instagram lives immediately that night. What did you say on those? And did it correlate with what we see in this video? I don't know. That's a great question too. I need to ask Marshall the plug. But okay, I'm going to try to get off of this topic. Okay. That's the end. And now we are concluding with bear versus man. This is what happens when you choose the bear. That's it. Okay, I do want to look at this quick article. I told y'all we're going to be all over the place. Did I lie to you? I did not lie to you. I told you we're going to be all over the place, and I'm all over the place today. All right. I do want to look at this real quick because I think this is kind of akin to what we're talking about today, about doing too much, team do too much. Okay. And I think the Ahmad Aubry case is another example of people doing too much. Now, I do believe that we can make the case for this to be a case about race, about externals, black versus white. Absolutely. But I think even more than that is people doing the most. You're just doing the most. Let's go. Ex-Georgia prosecutor, and you're probably all familiar with the Ahmad Aubry case. Well, this is the fallout. This is the blowback from the Ahmad Aubry case. Ex-Georgia prosecutor on trial for hindering the Ahmad Aubry murder investigation. And who is this? This is former district attorney Jackie Johnson, speaks at the Glenn County Courthouse in Brunswick, Georgia last month. She goes on trial on Monday for interfering with the police investigation into the shooting death of Ahmad Aubry, the black jogger chased and killed by 3 white men in February 2020. No arrests were made until months later, and only after video of the crime came out. Brunswick, Georgia, let's go. Let me make this a little bit bigger for y'all. And you know what? I'll drop the link in the chat as well. It's NPR. Y'all can find it. Ooh, that's big. Okay. That looks crazy, Jason. Oh, that's not bad. Brunswick, Georgia. It's been nearly 5 years since Ahmad Aubry was shot to death in Stalias Shores, a subdivision on the Georgia coast. Neighbors Greg Michael, his son Travis, and William Roddy Bryan mistakenly assumed Aubry was a thief and chased him in pickup trucks. There's a black male running down the street, the elder McMichael told 911 dispatcher, yelling, "Stop right there, dang it." Moments before, Travis McMichael shot Aubry point blank 3 times with a shotgun. The men are all serving life prison sentences on murder, kidnapping, and hate crime convictions. So I just want to say again, leave people alone. You know, you could even do a citizen's arrest because there's no reason. And part of the problem was Ahmaud Arbery had no form of weaponry. So you could have just did a citizen's arrest until the police came, took pictures of him until the police came and gave it to them. And what your suspicions were that what the crime was that he was committing. But again, this is what happens when you're doing too much. Now, another piece of the high profile racial justice case. Ooh.
What up, Good in the Hood?
Good in the Hood. All right, y'all. Good in the Hood is in the building. What are you doing? Why are you here harassing me?
You're saying hello.
All right. All right. My favorite firstborn brought me up.
Why are you like red?
I don't know. My colors are off. I didn't want you to say that, though. Really.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks for saying that. It makes me really feel self-conscious. Child, do you have something to do with your life? Go away. I was about to give you a shout out, but now you're like harassing me.
I like shout outs.
My favorite firstborn brought me a boba tea.
Tell them what you got.
I got me a Vietnamese coffee. Shout out, as unsweet as possible.
I got you 50%. I didn't do 0.
Oh, let's see. Let's see what happens. If I pass out, y'all know what happens. Oh no, that's good.
I thought you said 50 on the phone.
No, that's good. I appreciate it.
Okay, I kind of want to go take a nap.
Okay.
I know I haven't done anything to warrant a nap.
Nothing to warrant a nap.
Actually, I did one this morning.
Go get some work on some scholarships. Goodbye.
Or I can work on.
Or you can.
Good night.
Goodbye.
It is not gonna snow. I'm going to school tomorrow.
She's going to school tomorrow. All right, let's go. Let's go. Oh, that's terrible, Jason. That's better. The men are all serving life prison sentences on murder, kidnapping, and hate crime convictions. Now, another piece of the high-profile racial justice case is coming to court Monday after years of legal delays. Former Brunswick Judicial Circuit District Attorney Jackie Johnson is charged with violating her oath of office and hindering police investigation. Hindering a police officer. Please forgive me. State prosecutors say she sought to shield the McMichaels from arrest. Greg McMichael had previously worked as an investigator in her office and was a former police officer. Aubrey's family is ready to see the corruption case come to trial. To get 100% justice for Ahmaud, said his father, Marcus Aubry. He says holding the former prosecutor accountable is no less important than convicting the murderers because elected officials are supposed to serve everyone equally. We put our lives in their hands, he says. You get a powerful spot like that and don't do the job, it's hurtful. XDA denies wrongdoing. This is very interesting, especially in light of some of the other stories we know about. Johnson, who is white, has served as a local DA for 10 years. She has denied interfering and said she immediately recused herself from the Aubry case. Her lawyer declined NPR's request for an interview, but in May 2020, she was asked on a local radio program about the allegations. She advised the police not to arrest McMichaels. That's so far from the truth. It's just a straight up lie, Johnson said to WIFO's Butch and Bob show. We were not trying to do anything to manipulate the case. Rather, we were trying to stay out of the case, she said at the time. Johnson speculated Glenn County police were accusing her of interfering in retaliation for her office's investigation into police corruption. Some of the evidence in the Georgia Attorney General's office is expected to present at Johnson's trial includes logs of some 16 calls between phones belonging to Greg McMichael and Johnson in the days and weeks after Aubry was killed. There's also a message left on the cell phone shortly after the shooting. Jackie, this is Greg. Could you call me as soon as possible, as soon as you possibly can? He says, my son and I have been involved in a shooting, and I need some advice right away. I don't know if that's bad, though. Is that bad? State prosecutors are also expected to question whether Johnson followed proper protocol when she asked a DA in a neighboring jurisdiction to act as counsel for Glenn County Police in the Aubry case before notifying the state attorney general's office. The DA's son works in Johnson's office. Wow. Community activists have been critical of how Glenn County officials originally handled the case. Aubry was shot to death on February 23rd, but nothing happened until graphic cell phone video of the killing recorded by Brian was leaked on May 5th. How was it leaked? Oh my gosh. I didn't know that. The video sparked a public outrage, and the Georgia Bureau of Investigations took over the case from Glenn police. Under mounting pressure, the McMichaels and Brian were arrested not long after. In Brunswick, the nearly 3-month delay in seeking justice for Aubry sparked a grassroots movement to transform the community. We understood that bringing light to the case was not enough, says Elijah Bobby Henderson, co-founder of A Better Glenn, a civic engagement coalition that formed after Aubry's murder. Please forgive me. The group set out to drive up voter turnout and work to make sure that Jackie Johnson was defeated in her reelection as district attorney. They also successfully lobbied the Georgia legislature to revoke the state citizen arrest law and pass new hate crime legislation. But Henderson says they have bigger goals that will take time. We want better systems. We want better outcomes. He says, make improvements to the systems that have failed on that day and that have historically failed in Glenn County. That sentence doesn't make sense, but I know what he's trying to say, but I don't get that sentence. Doesn't make sense. Henderson says he's hopeful that evidence in the trial can shed light on the local power structure. I call it a cabal. We know that there's these handshake deals and backroom conversations that happen, but that is bad. That was bad, says Henderson. If a Sunday jogger can have his life snuffed out and they are intent to cover it up, we're returning to a place where people are lynched without justice. Aubry's murder was among those that sparked the national racial justice outcry in the 2020. Barbara Arwine of Transformative Justice Coalition says if the allegations against the former DA are proven in court, it will underscore the inequities in the criminal justice system. These vigilantes that took justice into their own hands was bad enough. Why did I say hands? Should say is bad enough. Was bad enough. Okay. She says, but we have the assistance, but to have the assistance be after the fact of a prosecutor is very distressing. I agree. Arwine says that the trial is an opportunity for transparency about what exactly happened in these first few weeks when the family feared that there would not be justice for their son's killing. It was very tough, she says. Those weeks that the family didn't see an active investigation, but We're being told that the best was being done when it wasn't. The Georgia Attorney General's office will be prosecuting Johnson's case with jury selection set to start on Monday. Okay. Well, we will try to check that out. I don't know. I have to look into it. I don't know how much of this is going to be televised or how it'll be televised. I don't think it's going to be like YSL. So, but yeah, I will definitely check that out, and we will, if we can, we will be rocking with it here. I think that'd be a good case to look at, especially in light of what we talked about earlier. But what do y'all think? What do y'all think? Okay, so I see a lot of good conversation, lots of good family reunion going on. I do want to say thank you to Amethyst Angel again for the $2 super. She says, if wifey was hood, that cat fight would have been, yeah, right. Like there's so many reasons, going back to the woman that accused the man of not living in his house. There's so many problems that could have happened. There's so many problems that could have happened. So many bad things could have popped off. And apologizing and crying would never have been able to fix it, because lives would have been changed irreparably because you're doing the most. Like nobody required you to do that. You did not have to do that. You did not have to walk on that man's step and say, I don't think you live here. I don't care. Who cares what you think? Like there's no reason that you had to have done that. And lo and behold, you did it. And look at now people's lives are being changed irreparably. Shout out to Amethyst Angel for the very kind. She's a stream sponsor. I love it. All right, what we got here? Oh yeah, my kids are crazy, man. So yesterday, y'all saw the camera was acting crazy. I got the camera acting right, but I think somehow or another I hit a setting and I don't think the color looks right. So that's why I keep making sure I get myself off screen as quickly as I possibly can. But leave it up to President Firstborn. She's gonna make sure I stay humble, because that's my kid. She gonna make sure I'm humble. Okay, so I know that Sarah Boone is not getting a new trial. She's cooked. She's out of here. We'll talk about that. Karen Reed trial is starting up, or did start up. What else we got? I'm just looking through some of the other chicanery going on. Looks like good stuff. Uh-oh. I see somebody else talking about it. Talking about the lady that was doing too much. I'll make sure I drop that as a video as well for y'all. I think we're good here. We're good. I'm just trying to check through and see if there's anything else going on. I think we're good. Oh, Karen Reed's in April. Please forgive me. But we know that, okay, so this trial starts on Monday. Hopefully it'll be recorded. Lori Lightfoot's report should be coming out on the 27th. The election for mayor of Dalton is in February, the latter part of February, and the mayoral election and the township supervisor position is in April. So we got a lot of stuff. What happened with Redman? Oh, Redman, man. I'm gonna get it fixed. I promise you. I promise you. Before we go back on again today or by tomorrow. I'm waiting. Oh my gosh. Okay. I gotta figure out how to get this. I don't know what to do. And the person I was gonna ask is not able to come by. So I might have to figure this out. Because it just looks, I feel like it's here. I'm gonna drop. I got a fix for it. There. I'm gonna turn the lights off. But leave me alone, man. Don't pick on me. Leave me alone. If y'all could, I do want to say thank y'all. I'm gonna wrap this up around these bases. I want to say thank y'all to everybody. You all have been supporting the channel, and it means a lot. And I really do want to say thank you. My goal this year is 5 million views, and you all are definitely helping me get that with every video. And I want to say thanks. I really appreciate it. I'm also trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of April, and we're chugging along. We are getting there. We are getting there. And I'm glad that you all are finding value. If you could do me a favor, in the chat, or you know what, better yet, just email me anything that you think, hey Jason, this will add some more value to the channel, or this would add more value to your videos, your live streams, whatever like that. Email management, I would love to hear. And it's okay as long as they're not like egregious and something crazy. I would love to hear, what are some ways that you would say, hey, Jason, this will make your videos a little bit better. And you don't have to be a content creator. That's why I said, just shoot me an email. I'll listen to it, see if it's something that's reasonable and feasible and works within the YouTube algorithm. I'd love to hear, like, what are some ways that you would say, hey, this would help add some value to your content. Maybe they're too long. Maybe they're too short. You talk about too many topics. You talk too fast. You don't change the color contrast of your person. I have no idea how to do that. But whatever it is, just, let me know. I would love to hear it. So I do want to say again, thank you so much for watching the videos. Thank you so much for engaging in the content. This has been a lot of fun this morning. And I expected to talk a lot about these topics, but you all your engagement in it has been wonderful. So thanks so much. The plan is to go live again this evening. And only reason I'm pensive about it is I got to make sure I fix this color scheme. If I get that fixed, then we'll come back on live tonight and maybe just do a live Q&A, chat it up, or we'll do it tomorrow. And either way, I'm looking forward to chopping up with y'all and see where you all are and what you all are getting out of here. If you run across something good, an article that's good, feel free to shoot me an email as well. Thank you for the supers. I appreciate y'all. It means a lot. Thank you so much for that. But either way, I'd appreciate it. So thank you so much for hanging out with us today. As Mark says, have a great day, everybody. I want to say thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace. I'll see you all real soon.
Yo, hit that like for deal with Christian. Yo, for deal with Christian. Smash that bell for DWC. Yo, smash it. Just smash it. Hit that like for deal with Christian. For deal with Christian. Smash that bell for DWC. Yo, smash it. Just smash it. Hit that like for deal with Christian.